Kicked out of the rich family at the beginning. Chapter 1001 I'm sorry, my family tree doesn't have you. Chapter 1001 I'm sorry, my family tree doesn't have you. Do not touch me. The boy didn't look at her, but carefully wiped the hand touched by her with a tissue, and threw it into the trash can casually, with a cold voice. Bai-Po leaned against the tree, replaying this scene in his mind. The black hair was sticking wetly to her pale neck. She put on a black windbreaker, yawned lazily, and then gave a number to the old man beside her. The old man supported the frame on the bridge of his nose, and seeing that she finally remembered a number, he took out his mobile phone and dialed out. The call was quickly connected. Hello, is this Song Min's classmate? It's me. The old man was very polite. It's like this, classmate Bai-Po accidentally fell into the water by the lake of Mingtai Villa, can you come and pick it up? The other party was silent for a while before remembering who the name was, with a restrained and bored tone, don't call me again. The phone was hung up. The old man was stunned. Bai-Po is still sitting on the rock. My fiancé. Falling into the water should look desolate, but she leaned against the tree with her arms folded, and her dark eyes were a little confused, like a white tiger who took a nap in a hurry, got up lazily and didn't know where it was. What about the rest of your family? She thought for a while. I'm holding a banquet for the daughter of the outer room to celebrate her birthday. The old man looked at the girl with a cute face and didn't know how to comfort her for a while. It's okay, Bai-Po tilted his head and chuckled, thank you for saving me. I'll sit down for a while. He still had other things to do, and it was just a coincidence that he rescued Bai-Po who fell into the water. He thought the girl had a strong will to die, but he didn't expect her to wake up after her heart stopped for 2 minutes. Seeing this, she didn't intend to commit suicide again. Don't sit for too long, it's easy to catch a cold. He left his phone number for Bai-Po, looked at the black windbreaker she was wearing, and hurried to catch the plane. Bai-Po put away the paper and watched him go away. She stood there for a long while before pulling off the uniquely shaped clothes, and sat back on the stone, with her elbows on her knees and her palms loosely supporting her chin. This body is also called Baijiao. She took a picture of the lake, and she looked exactly like her. Her mother found out that her husband had not only raised a concubine, but had also given birth to 2 illegitimate children 2 years ago, so she divorced him and left without asking for her custody. The original owner was usually ignorant, but this time he was caught cheating on the preliminary exam. When she was criticized by the teacher in the office, she saw Song Ming who came to deliver homework. The original owner subconsciously grabbed the fiancé's hand. The other party pulled her away indifferently and disgustedly, and said, don't touch me. Recalling this, Bai-Yu propped his chin with his hands, and his bony fingers lightly pressed against his cheeks. Tsk. What is the original owner doing with her pretty face? She tightened the coat that smelled of silver dandelion. Not thick, a bit air-conditioned. Bai-Po looked at the solar street lights lit up in the distance, and there were bright stars in her eyes. She just sat on the stone and watched this amazing world quietly. I don't know how long it took before a dazzling headlight came over. She reaches out to cover her eyes, blocking the light. Mississippi. The driver got off the driver's seat and opened the door of the back seat of the commercial vehicle. The door of the business car was opened, and there was a gentle girl sitting on the outside, wearing an exquisite dress. After standing up, Bai-Po discovered that there was not only Bai Shaoqi in the back seat, but also a noble young man who was sitting side by side with Bai Shaoqi, looking down at his phone. Oh, Song Ming. Sister, Bai Shaoqi glanced at Bai politely. She gave her a seat in front, and sat in the third seat in the last row. You sit in the front. The boy who was looking at his phone frowned. Seeing Bai Shaoqi sitting in the back, she also put away her phone without saying a word, and squeezed into the back seat. The driver glanced at Bai-Po in embarrassment. Every time he saw this scene, the lady would go crazy. Miss, young Master Song. Bai-Po flicked the hair floating on her forehead to sort out her memory. She didn't sit in the back, but only signaled the driver to turn on the co-pilot. The car drove to Bai's house. Brother Ming, in the silence, Bai Shaoqi in the back seat suddenly said, have you logged into my account? Well, you used Fourier transform in that question. This method doesn't work, I tried it. Look down on people, what if I make it? She reached for Song Ming's cell phone. Song Min hurriedly protected the phone. He would wipe clean the place where the original owner touched him, but he did not reject Bai Shaoqi at all. Then I will help you on duty. Bai Shaoqi, is it on duty again? Are you disgusted? Both of them are in the international class of number 1 middle school. This year's key talents often take various competition courses together. Bai Shaoqi is not inferior to any boy in science. The two of them talked as if no one else was around, and no one else could get in. The driver glanced at Bai Pe, who was quietly and obediently sitting in the co-pilot, and was a little embarrassed. He explained to Bai Pe, the second lady told Song Xiao about the software of the Jiangjing preparatory camp. There are 10 places in the number 1 middle school this year. Halfway through the speech, the driver remembered that Bai Pe had cheated for this quota, so he immediately shut up. The Bai family mansion. Bai Qiming sat on the sofa in the lobby, waiting for Bai Shaoqi and Song Ming to come back. Song Min came back with me to get my brother's notebook. Bai Shaoqi said to Bai Qiming with a smile. Bai Pe ignored their greetings. She sat directly on the sofa, tapped the coffee table casually with her fingertips, and signaled the housekeeper to pour tea for her. Waiting for the housekeeper to deliver the tea to her, she lowered her head and blew on it casually. You're nervous about studying, and you still need to practice Guzheng. Don't be too tired. Bai Qiming handed the teacher's letter on the table to Bai Shaoqi, and said gently, practice walking in white in the last 2 days. Dean Jian likes it very much. Song Ming was obviously surprised. You know how to dress in white. Bai Shaoqi is modest. I only learned a little superficial. Bai Pe half leaned on the sofa, put his half-dried black hair behind his ears, stared at the invitation card for a while, and then lazily interrupted their greetings by knocking on the rim of his cup. The invitation card was my birthday 2 years ago. Gift. Bai Shaoqi's voice paused, and she squinted at Bai Qiming's teacher apprenticeship post. Then with a half-smile, sister also learned Guzheng. Hearing this, Song Ming, who was standing by the side, raised his head. No one in Beijing knows, Bai Pe is ignorant and incompetent. Bai Qiming glanced at Bai Shaoqi reassuringly, and then looked at Bai Pe. His voice became cold. Dean Jian is a professor at Jiangjing University. She teaches students under harsh conditions. If you don't understand the rhythm, it's useless to hold it, sir. She is more suitable than you. Well, Bai Pe held the teacup in his hand, with a harmless expression. I don't understand the rhythm. She smiled. Quite interesting. She changed her body. I'm wrong. Bai Qiming's eyes were heavy, but he thought she was trying to argue. You left 3 teachers in anger, and you are still sleeping in Teacher Li's piano room. After learning for a year, tell me, how many zither are there? String, do you know? I see. Bai Shaoqi withdrew her gaze. Dad, if my sister wants to learn, then give it to her. I'll go upstairs first. Low eyes, with a bright mockery on her face, she stroked her sleeves, very disgusted with Bai Pe's behavior. It is really. Parrot. She went upstairs in a bad mood. Song Min saw her leave, and followed her. He passed by Bai Pe indifferently, without giving her a look. Song Min knew that Bai Pe was his fiancée since he was a child. Others said that his fiancée was good-looking, but Bai Pe was just called a fiancée to him. The other party has no sense of existence in his eyes, and has not left any impression on him in the past 10 years. Not even the slightest interest in the good-looking, white scorpion in other people's mouths. After the two left, Bai Qiming's face was gloomy, and he handed the invitation letter in his hand to the housekeeper. He looked at Bai politely. Why do you want to cheat? Bai Pe retorted, I don't. Miss Bai cheated. What does it have to do with her white scorpion? Bai Qiming almost sneered. So, you want to tell me that you got into the top 10 of the school by yourself? Why is it not possible? Bai Qiming felt that the way she refused to admit it was hopeless. Come with me to the ancestral hall. There are many memorial tablets in the ancestral hall. Bai Qiming took 3 sticks of incense, bowed them rigorously, and said to Bai Pe, you are 18 years old, not 8. When your elder brother was the same age as you, he already took the several awards, discussed several cases. He didn't mean to be sarcastic, just telling the truth. When Bai Po was in her first year of high school, Bai Qiming also put in a lot of effort and specially arranged for her to be in the same class as Song Ming to cultivate a relationship, but Bai Po didn't keep up with the teaching of the international class, and fell into the regular class in the first exam. Bai Shaoqi, on the other hand, has made progress. She passed the international class with her own ability and participated in various competitions for extra points. Bai Po was looking at the tablet behind him, and the other party jumped on her minefield every sentence. Don't talk nonsense, the son of the outsider is also my elder brother. Don't you guys have your own genealogy, and you still want to rub against me? She hadn't changed her clothes yet, and her black hair was wrapped around her thin and fair neck. Close up the windbreaker, lean against the door frame, and smile lightly at Bai Qiming. Bai Butler was startled watching from the sidelines. He looked at Bai Po's beautiful and recognizable face, and the smile on the other side really looked like that kind of perverted criminal with high IQ. A smell of blood. You. Bai Qiming has never been disobedient before, especially when the other party is Bai Po, the daughter he despises the most, his face flushed with anger. Nizi, you really don't know what to say. He inserted the incense. Don't talk about Shaoka, even if you have 1/10 of Shaoqi. But my Bai family has never had someone like you in the 200 years of history. He looked Bai Ku up and down, and defined it word by word, cheating in the exam, ignorant and incompetent. Give me a good self-examination in front of my ancestors, when I know I'm wrong and then come out, otherwise, he looked down at the white scorpion condescendingly, as if evaluating an insignificant commodity, go back to Xiangcheng, and don't come into me again. The gate of the Bai family. End of this chapter. Kicked out of the rich family at the beginning. Chapter 2, Miss 002, did she make a mistake? Chapter 2, Miss 002, did she admit it wrong? The door of the ancestral hall was closed. Butler Bai's heart sank slowly as he raised his throat. He looked at Bai Po with complicated eyes. Xiangcheng, the northern city, is the most remote, and it is also a border city farthest from Jiangjing. Dirty and messy, a jumble of fish and dragons, the most degenerate place in the country, there is not even a train station. Bai Po is looking thoughtfully at the tablet of the Bai family, which is only 200 years old. She asked the housekeeper in a complicated mood, is there still a white clothes business? White Clothes Walk is one of the top 10 famous songs through the ages, Jiangjing University's school song, any elementary school student can know it, but Butler Bai thought she was looking for a topic, so he said, Miss, why are you making such a fuss? What fate should be is what fate should be. So you see, some people can turn things around even in adversity, and some people even give her the best conditions, but they are just reckless. The eldest young master has lived in a bad environment since he was a child, but he passed the city's top prize and went to Jiangjing University. He also has a doctoral supervisor. With the Jiangjing family behind him, the Bai family's position in Beijing has become more and more stable. Everyone knows that the young master is Feiqi. Of things. Bai Qiming is waiting for the brother and sister Bai Shaoka to honor their ancestors and be admitted to Jiangjing. In contrast to the white scorpion. What's not yours is not yours after all, and second miss has everything she has today. Butler Bai talked for a while, then felt that there was no need to waste time with her, and turned around. He must immediately send the invitation letter to the second lady. As soon as the butler turned around, he heard Bai Po whispering, where are you going with my things? The butler was taken aback. He didn't finish a sentence, and suddenly. Bai Li stretched out his hand to grab his collar, using a little force with his slender white fingertips. There was an obvious feeling of being strangled and suffocated around the neck, and the butler involuntarily shortened his body. His heart seemed to be grabbed by someone, and he was forced to look up into her dark eyes. He remembered in a daze that Bai Po's mother was Ji Mulan, whose beauty had shocked the entire North City. Everyone seems to think that Bai Po didn't inherit the advantages of Bai Qiming and Ji Mulan, and neither did he. At this time, he was a little uncertain. Bai Po admired it for a while, and suddenly laughed again. She tightened her grip and asked slowly, do you know what happened to the person who offended me last time? Butler Bai's face quickly turned red due to suffocation and congestion. She let go of the hand that was strangling his neck, and straightened his collar without haste. Her voice was low and soft, look, I was just joking, what are you afraid of? The movements can be called gentle. However, Butler Bai was trembling in his heart, and the alarm bell in his head was screaming crazily. He covered his neck with his hands and coughed continuously. Looking at Bai Po again with fear in his eyes. Bai Po pushed the person away again, and suddenly stopped laughing. Like boiling water suddenly freezes. She calmly picked up the teacher's invitation card in his hand with 2 fingers, and indifferently blew the non-existent dust on the name card, and said in an unclear way, "Make arrangements, I will go to Xiangcheng." 2 days later, Xiangcheng. The most remote border town in China, the poverty alleviation has not been here for 3 years. There is no well-developed traffic here, and even slightly taller buildings are rare. Bai Po stood under the city tower, lifted the hat of the sweater on his head, and looked up. The city wall has gone through thousands of years of wind and frost, the stones have collapsed, and the shade is covered with moss. There are 2 rows of lazy banyan trees on both sides of the road, and the light and shadow are shaking freely through the gaps. She was carrying a black backpack with one hand, and there were 5 sticks of incense under her feet, and the smoke rolled into the clear sky. Not far away, the little boy who was squatting on the ground and staring at the big water wheel glanced at her twice. Seeing that Bai Chi hadn't left, he continued to stare at the water wheel. The ringtone of the mobile phone awakened Bai Po. "Ah Sue, haven't you arrived yet?" It was the original owner's aunt in Xiangcheng, and her voice sounded cautious. Bai Po picked up the backpack and threw it behind him. "I'll be right back." Vaguely saw a drop of water falling down, submerged in the dust and scattered. She watched the 5 sticks of incense burning, then pulled up the hood of the sweater and put it on her head, and walked towards the station. There is a moat outside the city of Xiang, which is split and diverted into the city. A large wooden windmill is erected on the water inside the city gate. The water flows through and the windmill rotates slowly. The little boy noticed her leaving out of the corner of his eye, and finally moved away, following her to the bus stop. Bai Po stood in the shade of the tree, looking down at the little friend who was not up to her waist, her slender fingertips resting on the phone, typing casually. The kid followed her from the train station to the bus and followed her all the time. His eyes are black and bright, and he has a cropped head. He is wearing a white shirt, a small blue knitted vest, and small black leather shoes. He is clean and tidy. Dressy and pretty. There is a sense of discord with this dilapidated town everywhere. "Why follow me?" The child lowered his head, unbuttoned the cuffs repeatedly, and then buttoned them again. He stared at the buttons and said, "My brother gave me half a banana this morning, half a banana, half." The bus station here has no seats and is very simple. There are not many cars on the road, just in 2s and 3s. Bai Po leaned against the stop sign and dozed lazily. "I don't understand." "Oh, I'm waiting for my parents to pick me up to their world." He stared at a piece of red ribbon in Bai Po's left hand again. "My brother can know where I am, but he just doesn't care about me." "Ah," Bai Po tilted his head, suddenly opened his eyes and stared at him for a while, then stretched out his hand to flick his forehead. "Then your brother is pretty cool." "Oh." The child turned his gaze to a black car that was slowly driving across the road. Silently resisted her last words. Across the road, a black business Maybach. In the driver's seat, the driver with a cropped head rested one hand on the steering wheel, and was extremely vigilant even on a harmless street. It wasn't until he saw the child across the road that he breathed a sigh of relief, and pressed the Bluetooth headset on his ear. "Everyone retreat, turn off the infrared, and don't point at ordinary people." There is only one young man in the back seat, with a notebook without any logo in front of him, a white shirt buttoned up to the top one, his eyes are very light and his complexion is cold and pale. Swiping the computer screen randomly with the fingertips, and clicking to open the file. The document in the mail shows cumbersome numerical formulas. He glanced at it, his thick eyelashes drooping slightly, and typed a comment with one hand. "Don't spam me anymore." Jiang Fuli pressed 2 keys casually, and a voice box popped up in the lower left corner of the computer. It was a man in a lab coat. He complained, "I said, young Master Jiang, what happened to you? Those researchers from country R. Say. Jiang Fuli cherishes words like gold." Fuck, the man thought of something funny, and smiled happily. they collectively reported you to the Mensa Alliance today. You know I can't reach the threshold of the Alliance, I heard from the teacher. Will this be against you influential? Mensa Alliance, the world's top IQ alliance. The requirements for joining the alliance are very strict, and there are only 100 members in the world. Most countries have no one who can pass the threshold. Only 3 people in China passed the assessment. Jiang Fuli tapped the table casually with his fingertips, and commented sharply, "Then I wish them success." The man on the opposite side let out a short laugh. "Okay, I understand." Jiang Fuli turned off the computer screen, and turned his gaze lazily out of the window, his light-colored phoenix eyes suppressing his natural indifference. The one-way glass can clearly see the outside. The girl is wearing a white sweater, with a bag casually hanging on her right shoulder. Pressed the child's forehead with his left hand. Because of her movements, her wrist and the red ribbon tied on it are faintly exposed. The bright red color is about 1 centimeter wide and wraps around her wrist twice loosely. She sensed something, and glanced this way casually. A glimpse. Ginger attached his fingertips to the black flip cover of the computer. The bus broke into the fragmented scene abruptly. The child looked at the swaying exhaust of the bus, and wanted to follow Bai Pe to get on the bus, but he didn't dare. So stand in place. The car on the opposite side was not in a hurry, and just parked there calmly. He unbuttoned and fastened the buttons again. After dawdling for about 10 minutes, he lifted his feet and walked to the opposite side. The rear door opened automatically, and he climbed up with both hands and feet. Young Master Jiang He. The driver with a cut head glanced behind and greeted. The little boy took a long time before he said, "Oh," and said slowly, "Uncle Ming." At the same time, the Bai family in Beijing. Family meeting room. The meeting is coming to an end. Bai Shaoqi pushed the door in with the test paper. An old man's eyes lit up, and he immediately said, "Shaoqi is out of school, come in quickly, we just finished the meeting." Others stood up and greeted Bai Shaoqi. "Are you a 3rd year in high school?" The old man said to Bai Qiming again, "Qiming, our Bai family fully supports you, just mention what Shaoqi needs." Their Bai family has a history of 200 years, but in the past 200 years, a Jiren appeared in the first generation of genealogy, and the family tree began with this Jiren, who was also their ancestor. Since then, there have been no celebrities in the Bai clan. Until Bai Shaoke appeared. "Thank you Grandpa, it's the 3rd year of high school," Bai Qiming smiled, then shook his head, "but she's too competitive this year. Just heard that there are 10 people who can compete for the first prize, including Song Min, why didn't you see Ah Pa?" The grandpa of the clan looked towards the open gate, but he didn't see Bai Pa, and was a little puzzled. It's true that which pod is not opened and which pod is lifted. Bai Qiming lost his interest, and the smile on his mouth became cold. The meeting room was also quiet, and no one else dared to speak. "Grandpa, let's go first." Now that Bai Qiming is in a good mood because of Bai Shaoke, the rest of the clan will naturally not annoy him, and it just so happens that the meeting is over, so he hurriedly drags Taigong out. After leaving the conference room, the person next to him explained to Taigong, Bai Pe cheated in the exam at number 1 middle school, so he might be expelled. Beijing number 1 middle school is one of the top 10 schools in the country. It is not easy to get in to study. The Bai family put all their efforts into sending Bai Pe in, but they didn't expect such a scandal to happen in the end. I originally thought that a talented woman like Ji Mulan would not be far behind in future generations. The prince sighed with boredom and shame on his face when he heard the words, "Forget it, a small family will not be able to get in after all, Mesa." In the meeting room. The test was very good. Bai Qiming took Bai Shaoqi's test paper, and was not surprised to see the perfect score. After signing, he returned it to Bai Shaoqi, "Don't worry about your sister." "I know." Bai Shaoqi nodded lightly. She has never regarded Bai Pe as an opponent, so why bother? Bai Qiming comforted his daughter again, "Although you are highly competitive this year, if you can pass the interview with Dean Xian and be taught and recommended by her, you may not be unable to enter Jiangjing. I will work hard." She looks arrogant. Bai Shaoqi is very ambitious. She has always believed that she will not be like Bai Pe, who can only stay in place and look up to others. Bai Qiming naturally believed her. The 2 siblings were well educated since they were young, and he never worried about her. He asked Bai Shaoqi to go back to study. After the others left, butler Bai came in and refilled Bai Qiming's tea. Bai Qiming picked up the teacup and took a sip, then suddenly remembered Bai Pe, with a cold expression on his face. Where is she? Have you admitted your mistake yet? Butler Bai knew that this she was Bai Pe. He didn't dare to speak. Bai Qiming put down his teacup, picked up the extension on the table, and said coldly to the servant on the other end of the microphone, "Ask Bai Pe to meet me in the conference room." Awaited. So 2 more chapters today, more heartfelt. End of this chapter. Kicked out of the rich family at the beginning. Chapter 3003 Grandpa rushed to study literature. Chapter 3003 Grandpa rushed to study literature. Bai Qiming hung up the phone after finishing speaking. Since ancient times, Jiangjing has been the capital and the economic center of Asia. Most of the major families that have been passed down in the country are in Jiangjing. With Jiangjing as the center, followed by 4 cities in the southeast and northwest, a circle of power and aristocrats with clear distinctions has been formed, which is still a natural moat that cannot be crossed. Almost everyone has been working towards Jiangjing University since birth, an institution that represents status. And Xiangqing. In a small border town, there are all kinds of people. A bunch of international fugitives are on the move. Countless people go missing every year. Most of them receive a fixed salary. After entering that city, they will live like this for a lifetime. Bai Qiming naturally didn't think Bai Po would go there. A businessman valued profits, and the relationship between him and Ji Mulan faded away day by day. The status of the white scorpion is declining day by day. Even an ordinary family can't keep a bowl of water flat, let alone a wealthy family like the Bai family. Otherwise, he wouldn't have discovered that Bai Pe had already left the Bai family. The servants downstairs were also apprehensive when they received the call. They didn't understand what Bai Qiming meant, so they just looked at each other in blank dismay. Where can they find another eldest lady? After a while, the servant who answered the phone tremblingly went upstairs and knocked on the door of the study. Where is she? Bai Qiming glanced at him. The servant is about to cry, "Miss, she. Bai Butler was on the side, his voice was a little hoarse, and his eyes were complicated to explain, "Sir, Miss, she. I left for Xiangqing that night." As for the ancestral hall, she didn't even look at it. The study instantly fell into the ice cellar. Okay, it's really good. Bai Qiming's face was as dark as water, and he said indifferently, "Since she is so stubborn, let her move out her household registration. From now on, whether she lives or dies, whether she is honored or disgraced, is all up to my Bai family. Nothing to do." It's not that Bai Pe didn't make trouble in the past. At that time, Bai Qiming and Ji Mulan sometimes spoiled her, but now she thinks a little too highly of herself, really thinking that their Bai family will go to Xiangqing to invite her back. Bai Qiming became so angry that he couldn't hide it from others. Soon, the grandpa with the highest seniority in the clan found out about it. "Forget it, don't worry about it, let her ask for blessings." As long as Bai Shaoke is still on the genealogy, the grandfather waved his hand and didn't care. It's a pity that the teacher's invitation, the cow chews the peony. Back when the Bai family knew of Bai Shaoke's existence, the grandfather went to invite Bai Shaoke back to the Bai family after visiting the thatched cottage 3 times, but it was not painful for Bai Pe to leave. Bai Pe is not even as good as that one in the hearts of Tai Gong and others. Bai Pe had already arrived at his uncle's community when he received the news from the servant of the Bai family. She crossed out the message indifferently. Bai Po's uncle lives in the old town of Xiangqing. Unlike the high-rise buildings in the center of Beijing City, the community is very old. "My uncle lives on the 5th floor, there is no elevator, and the stairs are dark and dark." When she knocked on the door and entered, the aunt stood up to greet her in a skirt, her eyes were obviously flattering, and she reached out to pick up Bai Po's suitcase. "Ah, Pe is here, why don't you call and ask me to help you carry the luggage?" The white scorpion was not given to her, and the aunt smiled and took a step back. Bai Pe raised his eyes, "Hello." A lazy but unusually prominent face. Aunt Ji instantly felt that this 100 square meter dilapidated home and the dark stairs were out of place with this niece. "Let's eat first, Ah Pe. This is your grandfather." You probably haven't seen him before. Uncle E is still teaching students to draw and he will come back at night. Do you remember Uncle? Aunt G was always very enthusiastic, and introduced him to Bai Po. Grandpa on the sofa. Bai Po's eyes fell on her grandfather. Her grandfather, Ji Heng. The original owner remembered that Ji Mulan had a bad relationship with the Ji family, and only came back once in so many years. Ji Mulan stood at the door and waited for a long time. Ji Heng didn't open the door and didn't see them. This is the first time they met. Ji Heng sat on the fabric sofa, staring at the TV broadcasting the news, wearing reading glasses on the bridge of his nose, wearing a coat that was washed a little white, but embroidered with extremely delicate patterns, his back was straight, and he held an old-fashioned cigarette in his hand. Pole. Auntie went to the kitchen. After a while, Ji Heng said in a muffled voice, "Has your mother contacted you in the past 2 years?" Bai Po looked at the delicate lines on his body, sat down on the sofa with his eyes down and his legs together, looking cute and harmless, but his fingers were wrapped around the red ribbon. No. The mother of the original owner has lost news for 2 years. Ji Heng nodded, lowered his head and took a breath of dry cigarette silently, and did not speak again. Bai Po sat obediently for a while, seeing that no one was looking at her, she simply leaned on the sofa, lazily took out her mobile phone and checked the news. Lunch is very rich, and it all tastes like white pomegranate. Has your student status improved? In silence, Ji Heng asked. It's being processed, and it will be transferred in 2 days. Well, when your uncle comes back, let him contact the teacher of Xiangqing Middle School for you. Aunt feels something is wrong. Student status? What student status? I transferred to Xiangqing to go to school. Bai Po only took a few mouthfuls of white rice, she put down her chopsticks. I left Bai's house. Aunt's mind was buzzing. What do you mean by leaving? Bai Po took out a piece of paper and wiped the corner of his mouth, calmly said, "It means that I was kicked out, and my household registration will also be moved out, so I can't go back." What? Aunt G's voice was a little sharp. What about your father? Bai Po looked at her obediently with a look of, "What do you think?" She didn't see the joke on Bai Po's face. My aunt didn't eat much, she was absent-minded and didn't know what she was thinking, so she couldn't help taking out her mobile phone to search at the dinner table. I don't know what I saw on the news. She looked bad and didn't even wash the dishes. Uncle Bai Po came back very early. Before he had time to say hello to Ji Heng, he was dragged to the room by his aunt. The sound insulation is not very good, and the voice of my aunt came faintly from the room. "Ji Xiaojun, did you know that she was going to live here, and asked me to prepare a room for her?" "Keep your voice down." Uncle Ji lowered his voice. "Dad and Pa are outside. But you don't even look at how big our family is." Not long after, the two came out. "Okay." Ji Heng picked up the pipe that was set aside, and knocked on the table. The sound was loud, and there was no expression on his wrinkled face. He lowered his head and lit the fire, and the smoke blurred his expression. "Ah, go to my place." Ji Xiaojun looked at his father and opened his mouth. He knew that once Ji Heng made a decision, no one could influence him. Auntie was also taken aback. After a while, he stroked his hair with a smile. "Dad, shall we have dinner here?" "No." Ji Heng exhaled the smoke ring, looked at Bai Po. "Come back with me." Ji Xiaojun was one step behind Ji Heng. He waited for the others to leave before he looked at his wife. "Shenqing, listen to what you said just now." "Ah, she just came back today, what do you say is appropriate?" Having been together for many years, his wife is not without emotional intelligence. He doesn't understand why she deliberately let Ji Heng Bai Po hear that. "I just said it specifically for your dad. Your family members all have the same virtue. If you don't talk to death, your dad won't understand at all." Shenqing picked up the rag and sneered. She was restless. She is also very clear about the virtues of this niece. Fighting, racing and clubbing is not a problem. Ji Mulan fell out with Ji Heng at the age of 18. No one in the Ji family knew that Ji Mulan married into a wealthy family. Shenqing secretly saw it on Ji Xiaojun's phone before. The Bai family did not recognize the poor relatives of the Ji family, and they had never been to Xiangqing once. She originally thought that Bai Po would go back to Xiangqing to walk with the Bai family. Unexpectedly, this Bai Po had the same virtue as Ji Mulan, and had a falling out with her rich father. Let me ask you, she is also in the 3rd year of high school like Wan Xian, right? If she won't pass the exam next year, will we continue to support her? One Ji Mulan, one Ji Xiaorong, if you don't let them help you, let's just help her clean up the mess. The more aggrieved he felt, he said, your family is more noble than the other, but Qin Gao can be eaten as a meal. No wonder the Bai family likes the illegitimate child. It's not lofty, it's the bottom line. Ji Xiaojun opened the door, and took a look at Shenqing before going downstairs. Also, don't compare that illegitimate child with Asher. Shenqing stood where he was, and threw the rag into the sink with a cold face. Did she say something wrong? Bai Po's own mother abandoned her like a shoe, so she cast a good baby and had a family shelter. How does the Bai family's illegitimate child with high IQ compare? She doesn't understand. What are Ji Heng and Ji Xiaojun insisting on? Outside. Ji Xiaojun strode to catch up with the two of them, and silently went to pick up Bai Po's box. Bai Po paused. She looked at Ji Xiaojun for about 10 seconds before letting go. Ji Xiaojun resisted the box. Bai Po looked at his back, and after a long while, he put on his hat. She followed behind the two of them, slowly searching for things she was interested in with her mobile phone. Someone sent a WeChat at the top of the mobile phone. It was a friend of the original owner. She returned to WeChat. The original owner didn't have many friends, most of them were rich second-generation kids who were just waiting to die. This was the only one who contacted him in the past 2 days. Dog friend, what happened to your fiancé? As she spoke, she sent a screenshot. Bai Po clicked on the picture, and it was a screenshot of Moments. Bai Xiaoqi, this is the price of looking down on people, naughty, picture. The accompanying picture is a picture of her expensive fiancé wiping the glass sideways with a rag. It can be seen that Bai Xiaoqi has a wide range of contacts and popularity. Below are a bunch of people's likes and comments. Who in Beijing doesn't know Song Ming, the 3rd young master of the Song family in Beijing? Happy to hear and see, our Song Xiao has gone down to earth. It still has to be you, goddess. Haha insiders said that young Master Song doesn't believe in evil every time, but has he forgotten that Xiaoqi is Senior Bai's own sister? Yes, he thought that Xiaoqi was the young lady who stayed in our international class for less than a day, was too poor in science, and was driven away by our head teacher to study literature. P.S. Xiaoxiang held a derivative creation activity, and the babies searched hashtag topic on the bib, let me see your strength, and look forward to your works. Grandpa deserves my title. Because many people didn't see my 9 o'clock update topic, so it's better to update it at 0:00. End of this chapter. Kicked out of the rich family at the beginning. Chapter 4:004, How Qin Shui's Street Fighter was made. Chapter 4004, How Qin Shui's Street Fighter was forged. What? She used to be in the international class. Confused face. How did she get in? Everyone listen to me, the second class is the worst, forced to drag an aircraft carrier. Second class committee, I'm so annoyed that our liberal arts class's grades are dragged down by her, this time it's even better, she got 0 points in the test, she cheated by herself, and our whole class will be ridiculed. Bai Xiaoqi replied to the school committee of the second class, my sister has gone to Xiangqing. This is a screenshot of everything. The original owner didn't add Bai Xiaoqi's WeChat account, nor did Song Ming. The dog friend then sent a message to Bai Po, I was so mad, she deliberately replied to the class 2 school committee's message, and everyone went crazy, what's going on? Are you really in Xiangqing? Bai Po, as you can see, he is in Xiangqing. Dog friend, you're an idiot, why don't you go to that corner? Dog friend? Bai Po, smiling. Dog friend, you smile at me. Miss Bai doesn't understand modern people's smiles very well. She put a question mark and returned to Chengdu to search for topics she was interested in. Ji Heng does not live in the community, but lives in Qingshui Street. In the undeveloped slum kiln in Xiangqing, there is a large area of bungalows, dark and damp, outside is a block, no matter the area, there are bars and black markets at the end of the street, it is very chaotic. The river facing Qingshui Street is the border line between the two countries. This area is particularly chaotic, and the police dare not take care of most of the cases. Today, I could see a few police officers hanging around, and the small lump around the waist was a gun. Ji Xiaojun took a look and was surprised. Is there someone patrolling today? Only during this period of time. Ji Heng took a pipe and walked towards an alley. Ji Xiaojun nodded. It would be better to have a policeman, at least to ensure the safety here. After all, Bai Po's face is quite dangerous in this area. The alleys here are narrow and dark, with cobblestone roads, and there are piles of garbage that have not been cleaned up at the corners. When you step on the stone slabs under your feet, black water will occasionally squeeze out. It is a different world from the bright Beijing. Bai Po was very quiet along the way, and did not comment on the conditions here. After going around several alleys, I finally arrived at Ji Heng's residence, surrounded by low bungalows. Ji Heng took out the key and opened the door of a small courtyard. The yard is not big, with a sycamore tree planted in the middle, and a stone table and a well under the tree. Ji Heng took out the cigarette stick and pointed to the room on the right. That's the room your mother lived in before, you can sleep there, the conditions are like this, if you are not used to it, go back to Bai's house. After finishing speaking, Ji Heng turned his head and entered his room. Ji Xiaojun smiled comfortingly at Bai Po, seeing that she had no objection, he breathed a sigh of relief and took her suitcase in. Although the room is a bit old, the items inside are well preserved and cleaned. Bai Po opened the suitcase, took out a pile of books inside, and placed them on the desk by the window. Ah, you. Ji Xiaojun thought that the box was her clothes or girls' cosmetics, but he didn't expect it to be full of books. He was stunned for a while, and then whispered, don't worry about school matters, we'll figure it out. He went out to find Ji Heng. Bai Po bent his legs and leaned on the table to flip through the books, and took out the mathematics he was most interested in. From mathematics to geopolitics, and then to English, English is completely the language she doesn't want to read. She briefly flipped through it before looking at the last one. History. The original main text, there will be history. It took about 5 minutes before she pulled out one of the history books, and a test paper in it fell to the ground with her. She bent down and picked it up, but her eyes touched an exercise on it. 20. Briefly describe Liang Zuan's tax and service system, and what impact did it have on the Changji year of the Yong dynasty? Why did his death push Emperor Jiang Wu's seizure of the throne to the peak? Snapped dash. Bai Po suddenly sandwiched the test paper in the history book. She was short of breath, deformed the history book with her fingertips, her round nails were white, and her long eyelashes drooped, covering her trembling pupils. Do you want me to accompany you? Ji Xiaojun saw Bai Po going out from a distance, so he walked out of the door, and then explained, this place is very winding. Shen Qing and the others don't remember the way. Bai Po stretched out his hand to button the hood of the sweater, shaking his head. Success. Ji Xiaojun saw that she seemed a little silent, guessing that she might be in a bad mood because of the Bai family, so he slowed down his voice, don't go far, call me if you can't find the way, and be careful. Good. Bai Po walked outside along the original road. She has a good memory. Although the road is complicated, she will never forget it once she walks through it. She drew many maps when marching in the past. 2 yuan. The middle-aged man at the canteen on the street brought her the mineral water, and then wiped off the sweat on his forehead with the towel around his neck. Little girl, you are not from this area, are you? She looks very good, has a special temperament, and her outstanding posture is obviously different from ordinary people. The boss knows that she is not from here at a glance. This Qingshui Street is in the old city, a bluestone road more than 3 meters wide, with gambling halls and black market bars at the end of the street, a mixed bag of fish and dragons. 1 kilometer further ahead, it is even more complicated, the border between the two countries. 8. Regardless of the area, it is not uncommon for someone to disappear. Bai Po nodded, she scanned the QR code with Huami mobile phone to pay, and her eyes fell on the huge banyan tree branch next to the store. The banyan tree is in the front temple, and the low houses next to it are all covered by thick branches under the canopy. The 3-meter-long street was lazily straddled by a tree branch. There are several red silk hanging on it. The tree is more than 1,300 years old. The shopkeeper continued to move the piles of boxes outside the shop, and when he saw Baipa looking at the banyan tree, he explained, "It is our guardian god. If you want to see it, you can go 2 steps ahead. Enter the main entrance is our tree temple." Long white hair hanging from the side, she leaned against the wall and looked at the tree trunk, with a bit of laziness in her eyes. "It's been more than 1,000 years. I felt a few lines of sight from the side." The owner put down a box of things, turned around, and involuntarily squeezed the towel hanging around his neck. A few people appeared on the street. It wasn't too hot, but the leader was wearing a white vest. The white vest approached, but he didn't care. But looking at Baipo's exquisite face that makes people want to conquer, he casually took a pack of cigarettes in the boss's shop, asked the boss, took out one and bit it. "Who is she?" The boss froze for a moment, then said nervously, "She is my niece." "You have a niece?" The white vest sneered, kicked him away, and approached Baipo. The boss was kicked aside. "There are patrols these 2 days, you. Several younger brothers gathered around him. They were obviously very familiar with such a scene, and they didn't pay attention to the white scorpion. They stood relaxed and laughed watching the farce. Baipa glanced at the white vest, "Looking for me?" White vest was seen by her, her heart skipped a beat, and she strode forward. He looked up and down the white scorpion, his eyes were like a sticky poisonous snake, and he lit the cigarette. "Do you know that you have to pay protection fees when you come to Qingshui Street?" "Protection fee?" Baiku calmly bounced off the leaves that floated to his shoulders. She tilted her head and smiled, her eyes seemed to have stars. "Sweet and obedient. It makes people want to conquer." "Yes." The white vest couldn't bear it anymore, and he reached out to touch Baipo's face. In just this breath, Baiku twisted up the empty bottle and smashed it into the trash can. When turning sideways, he stretched out his hand to pinch the arm stretched out by the white vest, and a strong force folded the man's arm, and grabbed his hair with his backhand. The white vest screamed and tried to resist, but was poured into the wall behind him. With a bang, his head was smashed hard against the wall. Blood oozed from his forehead immediately. Bai Bei's heart ached so much that his facial features were distorted. He was horrified to find that he couldn't move, so he could only stare at her with wide eyes. "You." Bai Li grabbed his hair with her hands, she smiled lazily, and smashed his head against the wall with a huge thrust, boom dash. There was another sound, more blood flowed out, the white vest had golden eyes, and he had lost the ability to resist. Like a rabbit that can be rounded and flattened by others. No one doubted her skill, the white vest was the most capable one in their group, that's why she became the eldest brother, while the 3 younger brothers shrank aside. Baipa retracted his gaze. Attention turned back to the white vest. She was actually a little curious about the taste of cigarettes that a lot of people in this world smoke. Baipa took his cigarette case under the terrified eyes of the white vest, and slowly took out a cigarette from it. Bright red lips bit the cigarette lightly, her eyelashes drooped carelessly, and the little brother next to her immediately leaned forward to light her a fire. The girl's hair was a little messy, thin smoke was spit out from her mouth, the smoke was loosely held in one hand, the fingers were shiny white, clean and slender, the other hand lazily grabbed the hair of the white vest, blood flowed down his face hit the ground drop by drop, and she flicked the ash lazily, then. "Now, do you still need protection fees?" "Brother, if you beat my elder brother, you can't beat us equals omega equals. Cold knowledge, now you can vote monthly for free articles equals omega equals. Question, Ms. Bai studies literature or theory? End of this chapter. Kicked out of the rich family at the beginning chapter 5005 when Zhuanli, witnessing the conferred God. Chapter 5005 when Zhuanli, witnessing God. Bai lazily tilted her head to the side, a section of scarlet was faintly exposed in the left hand holding his hair, and the smoke slightly blurred her delicate and beautiful face. Is a thrilling beauty. But the pupils of the white vest reflected Bai Po's face that seemed to be smiling but not smiling, and he could no longer have other desires. He couldn't speak, but shook his head frantically and terrified. That's it. Bai Li let go of his hand. Smoke is not her favorite taste. She lazily threw the cigarette under her feet and stomped it out. Clean the battlefield, will you? She was polite and the others were genuinely scared. Nodding obediently. Baipa patted his sleeves, glanced at them before leaving, and said lightly, "What are you afraid of? This didn't cut off your head." Very easygoing attitude. Of course, if she didn't use a cabbage-chopping tone. It wasn't until she left that the white vest slid and sat in the corner, moving his numb fingertips in fear. It took a long time for the little brother to dare to move over silently, squatting at his feet, smoking a cigarette to calm his shock. Why do you say you provoke her? White vest. 15 minutes later. The two patrols turned back again. They stared dumbfounded at the entrance of the canteen. The leader of the very difficult Qingshui street gangster with a bit of power behind his back was injured, and was obediently helping the shop owner sweep the floor and move things. The other younger brothers were also working hard. What are you looking at? The white vest bit his cigarette, glanced at the two patrolmen, and said irritably, "Damn you. Continue to move boxes," after cursing. The store manager on the side was trembling, and just wanted to reach out to move it. The white vest returned the cigarette money owed to the shopkeeper, and said fiercely, "Did you ask you to clean it?" He continued to move the goods down, smoking a pack of cigarettes without thinking about it. No, is she sick? This smiles so obediently and fights so hard. Bai Yi thought blankly, she even wanted to chop off his head. Not far away. Hello. Captain. The little police officer looked at the canteen vigilantly, and he took out the walkie-talkie with a serious expression. "Yes, I'm applying for a strict investigation of the manager of the canteen at number 112 Qingshui Street. I'm not kidding." It was still dark, and when Bai Po went back, Ji Xiaojun just wanted to come out to find her. He noticed that after going out for a trip, Bai Po's mood seemed to improve again. Ji Xiaojun was relieved a little. There was a big difference in life in the north of Xiangcheng, and he was really afraid that Bai Po would not get used to it. Bai Po was sitting at the stone table, resting his chin lazily on his hand, watching Ji Xiaojun go back and forth several times to fill up the water tank at home, and suddenly said, "Uncle." Ji Xiaojun put the bucket by the well, and he was stunned when he heard the voice of Bai Ku. Bai Pa had only been to Xiangcheng twice with Ji Mulan before, and this was the first time she called her uncle. "Hey," his voice suddenly raised, "you say?" Bai Pa blinked those big eyes, "Very well behaved. I want to transfer to science." "She didn't say I thought so. Instead I want to." "Ah," Ji Xiaojun picked up the rope for fetching water, his thoughts turned, "Can you tell uncle why?" He knew that Bai Po was studying liberal arts, and the gap between liberal arts and science courses was too great, and science was very cruel, with logical reasoning and clear difficulty, and the main thing was that he couldn't do it. Bai Pa smiled. Ji Xiaojun and Ji Heng didn't talk much, but they both treated Bai Po with obvious temptation and caution, which gave her a sense of acceptance and recognition when she first came to another world. She doesn't hate it, she even has a little belonging. Of course, she didn't understand why the original owner left such a good family member behind and died in the lake for a few irrelevant people. No reason. Bai Pa tilted his head and asked again, "Is it not possible?" "Uncle." Ji Xiaojun, "Okay, you can. Leave it to me." Watching Ji Xiaojun put down the bucket to look for Ji Heng's back, Bai Po withdrew his cute eyes and smiled lazily with his chin propped up. "Alive, it seems to be okay. That's why you agreed to her." Ji Heng took a piece of cloth and looked at Ji Xiaojun with an incomprehensible expression on his wrinkled face. "There is no one in the yard. Apart from the kitchen on the left, there is also a small warehouse full of cloth. Although it is a few years old, the color is still bright. Ji Xiaojun will come to help Ji Heng clean whenever he has time." He sneered, pulled on a dust cover, and muttered softly, "But she calls me uncle." "Nonsense," Ji Heng said with a cold face. His majesty remained undiminished. "She is ignorant, and you don't understand either. Ah Pa is already in her 3rd year of high school, is Wen Zhuanli just kidding?" Transferring from high school to another school was already quite a nonsense. His son has a high IQ, why is he so confused about this matter? Ji Xiaojun didn't understand why Bai Pa turned around and came back in a good mood, but suddenly he had to transfer another department. He was silently doing the work at hand, when he suddenly remembered something. He hesitated and said, "Aren't those two illegitimate children of the Bai family educated?" Bai Xiaoke was admitted to Jiangjing University last year as the #1 scholar in the city. The Bai family has been speculating on the internet for a long time. Even Xiangqing has heard about it. I heard that the illegitimate daughter is also excellent in science. Ji Heng caressed a piece of top-quality silk and satin, but he didn't speak immediately after hearing this. His hands were already full of furrows. After a long while, her temperament. "Dad," Ji Xiaojun regretted mentioning this a bit, "I see that Ah Su is sensible this time. She is a thoughtful person, a late bloomer. You have to give her a chance to repeat the study next year, and she may not be able to get an ideal grade in the exam." Of course, he just talked casually. He knows what his niece is like, and it would be nice if he can finish the 3rd year of high school quietly. Their family doesn't expect the niece to send them a champion or something, so let her do whatever she likes. It doesn't matter if you study literature. Ji Heng turned around, carefully pulled out a small oiled paper bag from the cabinet behind him, opened the oiled paper bag, and pulled out a long and thin needle from it. No further rebuttal. Ji Xiaojun knew at a glance that he acquiesced. He put the cloth and watched Ji Heng take the needle. "May I help you carry the embroidery frame out?" Ji Heng didn't return right away. After a while, he nodded dispensably, "Take it." Ji Xiaojun's eyes lit up, "Hey. I'll go right away." It was already dark. Ji Xiaojun called Shinqing and said that he would go back later, so he stayed to help Ji Heng clean up the warehouse, took out the embroidery frames and cleaned them, and put them in the yard to dry. He hummed and wiped the dark embroidery frame. The light in Bai Po's room is also on. He can see the reflection on the window, and she is reading at the desk. Bai Po is different. Ji Xiaojun can feel that even though she stepped on the black water in the rocks when she came back today, she didn't even frown. She is different from her mother. Ji Xiaojun suddenly felt that it might not be a bad thing for Bai Po to be sent back by the Bai family. Ji Xiaojun is helping Bai Po contact the school and teachers. In addition, there is her household registration, which needs to be moved to Ji's house. Bai Po has been in the library these days. What surprised her in this era is not only the mobile phone and computer, but also the library. She has never seen such a rich collection of books, which is also open to the public. This is really a good time. Just a question. Bai Po lowered her head, looked at the physics book at hand, and looked at the physics exercises. After writing 2 questions, she put down her pen and murmured softly, "I'm finally going to start to ruin the teacher's reputation." In the past, the gentleman had 6 arts and 8 elegant lives. She dare not say how proficient she is, at least she has graduated from the teacher. With the rapid development of modern technology, the original owner has no knowledge at all. She reads books in the library for a few days and can understand most of them. She thinks the books she read are not difficult, but the problem is this. The knowledge and examples she learned, 1 + 1 smiley face. The question she did, prove that I pi plus 1 equals 0. Bai Po thinks faintly. I don't know if I will burn 2 more sticks of incense for the teacher when I go back. Will the teacher forgive her for embarrassing him in modern times? The library has a large collection of books, but there are also deficiencies. For example, deeper knowledge, such as a larger question bank. She didn't see any of them. Hearing her sigh, the child holding the paintbrush turned his head and looked at her flickeringly with a pair of white eyes. Choose C. He spoke suddenly. Bai Su paused, she flipped through the answer, C, it is correct. So he turned his face, quick calculation. When she came to the library on the first day, she saw the children who followed her from the train station to the gate of the city when she came to Xiangqing. In the next few days, both of them showed up on time when the library opened at 8 o'clock. They read and studied together, and they were not very talkative. The little boy shook his head. After a while, he explained, my brother has a shorthand model for this kind of question, and there is an algorithm. Whose ordinary child memorizes the shorthand model? Bai Po accepted it well. Is that so? Do you want to drink milk tea? No. Bai Po didn't give him a chance to object. She lay down on the table and smiled like a spring breeze. By the way, I have always regarded you as my good friend. She stuck in her shell. What's your name? Jiang He. Jiang He, the crane that went to the lonely mountain and didn't return. Oh, Jiang He, I have always regarded you as my good friend. Bai Pa crumpled up the paper in his hand and threw it back, knocking on his head. Go, get out. The two leave their seats. Papers slammed into a red cutout wastebasket in the corner. The phone in his pocket rang, but there was no sign number, so Bai Pa picked it up. Hello? The person on the other side obviously didn't expect her voice to be so calm, paused, and said indifferently, It's me. Who? Bai Pa was impatient. Bai Pa, I have more conversations with Bai Shaoqi. Even without her, our relationship will not change in any way. On the other end of the phone, Song Min didn't believe that Bai Pa didn't have his phone at all, and only thought that Bai Pa did it on purpose. Yes, he pressed his brows, indifferent and bored. So you took the apprenticeship letter to Xiangqing, don't you think it's naive? Shu Win, Dimensionality Reduction Strike. Academic Theory, a Work of Gods. Good night, go to bed early after reading. End of this chapter. Kicked out of the rich family at the beginning. Chapter 6:006 Equal Treatment of Jiang Fuli. Chapter 6:006 No Discrimination. Jiang Fuli. Ah. Bai Pa laughed out of anger. It can be regarded as knowing who the person opposite is. She pressed Jiang He's head. This Song person thought she was jealous of Bai Shaoqi, so he deliberately took away the invitation card. First of all, you have to be clear. My mother left me the letter of apprenticeship. Bai Pa walked out of the library. She looked at the milk tea shop opposite her. Her slightly narrowed eyes were dark and deep, clean and glamorous, with a superficial surly expression. Also, my things, don't say I take them away. Even if I burn, what can you do? Song Ming on the other end of the phone was taken aback. Bai Pa bowed his head indifferently, and hung up the phone with a snap. After thinking about it, he blocked the person again. This Song Min reminded her that the two still have an engagement, and they have to find a chance to break it off. Really unlucky. Jiang He grabbed the corner of her clothes. Bai Pa bowed his head, stretched out his hand and pinched his cheek lazily. His fingers were slender and as cold as jade. You are still cute, tell me, what do you want to drink? 2 minutes later. Bai Pa was queuing at the milk tea shop opposite. There was only one milk tea shop in this place. It was time for get off work and get out of class, and there were quite a lot of people queuing. Jiang He didn't like crowded places, so he squatted on the side of the road and waited for her. He had a problem for the first time in his life. His good friend wants to invite him to drink milk tea. Of course, as a condition. Jiang He poked the black watch on his right hand, and the watch immediately showed a thin three-dimensional plane in the air. He clicked on WeChat, hesitated for a long time, clicked a line and sent it. How to learn physics quickly. Xiangqing Center. A Chinese-style single-family manor. A few people were waiting on the opposite side of the road. Dr. Gao, I didn't expect you to come to Xiangqing. I just got the news yesterday. The well-dressed old man looked at the young man with a very polite attitude. If there are other people from Xiangqing here, I will be very surprised, because this old man is Ren Qian, the manager of Xiangqing who often appears in Xiangqing news. Dr. Gao is very young, not tall, with glasses on the bridge of his nose. Hearing this, he seemed to be waiting for something. He only glanced at Ren Qian, said, without further answer. He is sought after no matter where he is, and Ren Qian's looking up is normal for him. Ren Qian heard about Dr. Gao's schedule today, so he came to meet him specially. Dr. Gao, I set up a table in Wanhe building tonight. Do you have time? Let's talk. Dr. Gao frowned. Okay, just talk to the teaching assistant when you have time. Ren Qian expected his answer. He came today just to show his presence. Then Dr. Gao, let's go first. A sentence is not finished. There was a sound of stab. The black car stopped at the entrance of the opposite manor. Seeing the young man in a black t-shirt get out of the car, Dr. Gao suddenly cheered up. He stood up straight and strode towards the opposite side. Seeing Dr. Gao's attitude, Ren Qian was taken aback and looked across. Who made Dr. Gao wait here for 2 hours? On the opposite side, Dr. Gao was wearing a research uniform and squeezed to the gate of the manor. He followed the black tea youth through the door, with the pride of his age. Jiang Shao, you accepted other countries to join CRFS, but rejected country R, just because you don't like people from country R, don't you think it's too childish to involve your personal emotions in international cooperation? The assistant just handed over the letter to Jiang Fuli. When he heard this, he looked at this reckless warrior in shock. Jiang Fuli took the letter and ignored him. Continue to move forward, but the bodyguard blocks Dr. Gao. Dr. Gao took advantage of the negligence of the bodyguards and broke free from the confinement. He opened his mouth wide, and the assistant's eyes went dark. He felt something was wrong and wanted to stop it. However, Dr. Gao's next sentence came out. His sarcasm was mixed with anger. Don't you remember that our school motto is scientific research without borders? You have already forgotten your original intention. Silence like a chilling cicada. The scene was like falling into a snow mountain at an altitude of 6,000 meters, the air pressure was low, and the cold wind was howling and piercing. Jiang Fuli finally stopped. He raised his hand to stop his subordinates, and calmly looked down at them. Who are you? He asks. Dr. Gao has been a genius since he was a child, skipping grades all the way. At the age of 26, he returned from studying in country R and participated in several research projects around the world. His teacher just became an academician last year. It is not an exaggeration to describe him as a top figure in the academic circle. Resume is also well known in Jiangjing University, and the deans in the school will give him a little bit of face. Unexpectedly, Jiang Fuli didn't even have a name. He opened his mouth, almost humiliated. Gao Jichen. Gao Jichen, Jiang Fuli nodded. He has a pair of extremely shallow eyes, full of coldness, and light lips. He calmly asked, why do you think I need to explain to you? Gao Jichen's throat twitched, and he, who has always been the focus of attention, was dumbfounded. But, you are like this, it's hard for me to believe you. Jiang Fuli interrupted him, do you think your conviction is important to me? Gao Jichen was stunned, completely unexpected that the legendary Jiang Fuli had such a personality. But what you said makes sense. It's wrong to discriminate against them alone. Jiang Fuli folded the letter in his hand slowly, bent down, and stuffed it gracefully into Gao Jichen's pocket. There is contact information for the International League, and complaints are welcome. He stood up straight, dressed in black, cold and unfriendly, and strode into the house. Write down his name, there will be my project in the future, and block him forever. The phone in his pocket rang. Jiang Fuli lowered his eyebrows. It was a person who never sent a message sent him a message. How to learn physics quickly. Jiang Fuli casually found a picture and sent it over, tilting his head. What is Jiang He doing? The subordinates always have the news of Jiang He. The young master is in the library, and Mr. Ming is following him. Jiang Fuli tapped the phone screen unintentionally with his fingertips. His nails were neatly trimmed, and the back of his hand was morbidly pale, and the infiltrating blue blood vessels could be seen faintly. He nodded and didn't speak again. Behind him, Gao Jichen looked at Jiang Fuli's back in horror. This time he was really anxious. Young Master Jiang. Jiang. He wants to catch up with Jiang Fuli, but if the bodyguard can let him succeed once, then he won't have to show up in front of Jiang Fuli tomorrow. Gao Jichen was dragged out by the bodyguard covering her mouth. The assistant took note of the person's name. Outside. Ren Qian and the Secretary General were still on the side of the road. He watched Dr. Gao enter the manor, and was quickly thrown out by the people inside. Get in the car. Ren Qian turned around before seeing Dr. Gao. Mr. Ren, who is that man? The Secretary General opened the car door and let Ren Qian get in the car. He looked at the ancient building opposite, clicked his tongue in astonishment, and could barely hear Dr. Gao's words. Young Master Jiang. CRFS is a project of the Dark Matter Cooperation Group. Jiangjing chose the air raid shelter left by Shangqing as the basis for the construction of the research institute. It is 2,900 meters underground and is the deepest dark matter research institute in the world. The supporting projects are being reviewed and accepted. The degree of confidentiality is high. As the top manager of Shangqing, Ren Qian does not know the specific internal list. He only got in touch with Dr. Gao's assistant through an acquaintance. I don't know, the CRFS project has a high level of confidentiality. The person inside. Ren Qian thought for a while, his last name. Dr. Gao called him young Master Jiang, his surname is Jiang. The Secretary General suddenly widened his eyes in the middle of speaking. No wonder. Ren Qian looked out the car window with a distant voice, you can contact Dr. Gao's teaching assistant tomorrow, and hope he doesn't see us. The Secretary General is not sure whether Dr. Gao saw it. If Dr. Gao knew that they saw each other's embarrassing side, it would be unknown to make friends. Let's look at it again, Ren Qian sighed, remembering another thing, why did Xiao Rong ask for leave suddenly? I don't have time to meet Dr. Gao with me today. He's gone home. The Secretary General looked down at the itinerary in the notepad. Mr. Ji said he would take Miss Wanxian to see her grandpa. Hearing this, Ren Qian didn't comment. He is not clear about the affairs of the Ji family. The Ji family only appeared once at his daughter's wedding. He only cares about one thing, why go back at this time? In the past, I would only go back during the holidays. Ji Xiaorong is also an intellectual. He originally wanted to bring him here to communicate with Dr. Gao, but he asked for leave today. Ren Qian was already dissatisfied with him, but now his expression became more and more indifferent. It seems that I heard that a niece has returned. Yeah. Ren Qian didn't bother to ask anymore, he was not interested in the affairs of the Ji family. The Ji family is too ordinary in their eyes. The Secretary General smiled. When Ren Jiawei, the only daughter of the Ren family, fell in love with Ji Xiaorong, a poor boy, no one from the top to the bottom of the Ren family agreed. However, over the past 20 years, the Ji family has always done their duty. No one in Xiangqing even knew that Ji Xiaorong, an ordinary poor boy from Qingshui Street, had successfully married into the Ren family. Low-key and quiet. Do not fight or grab, but there is no sense of existence. Jiang He sighed. He squatted on the side of the road. Jiang Fuli replied very quickly, picture.jpg. Only one picture. Jiang He clicked on the cover of the physics book of Jiangjing University that someone participated in writing. Bai Pe came back and saw the blue fluorescent three-dimensional picture displayed on Jiang He's watch, and handed the milk tea to Jiang He. What? The super large cup she bought, Jiang He couldn't hold it with one hand, so he held it with two hands. Bai Pe lowered his eyebrows and saw the cover of a book. Physics of Jiangjing University. This book, Jiang He said slowly, with a reluctant expression, it's very powerful. Bai Pe nodded, and took out his phone to take a picture of the cover, but he turned on the camera but couldn't see the picture on the kid's watch. What kind of black technology is this? The two were silent for a few seconds, and then added WeChat. Jiang He finally had a seventh person on his phone. The two of them were sitting on the side of the road, staring intently at the passing cars. It's amazing, Bai Ke put his hands on his knees, tapped his fingers unhurriedly, and bent his other long leg casually. I read the electrical system of the vehicle, and the book says that the magnetic field of its rotor can let the stator generate alternating current, but it's still magic. Bai Pe is interested in everything in modern times, she can imagine her electrical system when she closes her eyes. But she doesn't know the principle. In the past 2 days, the two sat on the side of the road and watched the car after studying every day. Jiang He held the milk tea and tilted his head to look at her. Okay, Bai Pe glanced at WeChat, and Grandpa asked her when she would go back. She inserted the straw into Jiang He's milk tea, got up and patted his head, I'm going back. See you tomorrow. She took the number 12 bus. Jiang He squatted on the spot, holding milk tea in both hands while drinking, while looking up at the number 12 bus staggering away. A car stopped in front of him silently. The car door opened, and the inch-cut man got out of the driver's seat. Jiang He climbed to the back seat, and when the man was fastening his seatbelt, he said, Uncle Ming. Ming Dongheng didn't expect that he would take the initiative to speak. His tough face couldn't show tenderness. What's wrong? Jiang He said slowly, can I go back with Sister Bai? Ming Dongheng, ? He was expressionless, I will help you ask the young master. The problem is, taking you back will scare her parents to death, right? She kindly took you to play, why do you want to avenge your kindness? Qingshui Street, Ji Heng's home. A middle-aged man stood in the yard, looking down at the simple brown embroidery frame. Dad, you've been watching for half an hour. The girl in the uniform of Xiangqing Middle School sitting at the stone table played with her mobile phone, very bored. When shall we go home? The man was wearing a black suit. Hearing this, he didn't look back. Wait for your cousin to come back. I'm not just a cousin. Ren Wanxian was surprised. She has only been to Ji's house a few times since she was a child. She doesn't know anything about Ji's house, but she remembers that there is only one uncle and one cousin. Well, you have an aunt. Ji Xiaorong said concisely. The two were talking. Ji Heng came out from inside, and he took a small gift box to Ren Wanxian. Thank you, Grandpa. Ren Wanxian smiled sweetly. She reached out to take the gift box, and then put it on the stone table. But I don't care in my heart. Her daily necessities are all custom-made by the Ren family. As the only daughter of the Ren family, every piece of clothing is custom-made by a well-known brand, but Ji Heng has to make clothes for her every time she comes here. Ren Wanxian naturally didn't like it. Her mother put the clothes in the warehouse after taking them back, and she never wore them once. Your sister still has no news. Ji Xiaorong looked away from the embroidery frame. Frowning, he doesn't know much about Ji Mulan. She has an arrogant personality since she was a child, and she doesn't get along well with him. Ji Heng picked up the cigarette pouch. No. I heard from elder brother that her daughter is going to be transferred here. Ji Xiaorong stopped asking Ji Mulan about it. Ren Wanxian listened to the two talking one after another, and got a rough idea. This relative is 2 years older than her and is now a senior in high school. She listened a bit, but didn't care, picked up her phone and chatted with her friend for a while, raised her eyebrows. Senior brother, tell me, would she have heard that my grandfather was Renqian, so she wanted to turn around? She typed to ask. After reading, go to bed early, good night. End of this chapter. Kicked out of the rich family at the beginning. Chapter 7:007 Ren's family, admission. Chapter 7007 Ren's family, admission. Ren Wanxian has never wanted to speculate on others with malice, but she also knows where Xiangqing is. The teaching strength of Xiangqing Middle School is average, but the Ren family will hire her the best private tutor. But most of the others who have a little connection have transferred to places like Beijing to go to school. Where would anyone want to come back? Ren Wanxian had just finished typing when Ji Heng suddenly looked towards the door. Ah, Pa is back. Ji Xiaorong paused, and he turned sideways to look at the courtyard gate. A girl pushed the door and came in. Following the girl's entry, it was as if a bolt of lightning suddenly flashed across the dark sky. She is wearing a light blue blouse with beige cuffs that are neatly buttoned, 9-point cuffs that are slightly wider, and the cuffs are edged with white auspicious clouds, and underneath are ankle-length beige slacks that are embroidered with vivid pink apricot flowers. She is walking the waves of powder surged. Playing with a pair of white headphones casually in his hand, the touch of red on his wrist is like a red plum in the snow. Ji Xiaorong's eyes fell on her clothes, and he could tell at a glance that the dense stitches were made by Ji Heng. Ji Mulan's character gave birth to a well-behaved daughter. This is your second uncle. Ji Heng pointed at Ji Xiaorong with a pipe, and introduced it to Bai Pe. Ren Wanxian didn't look at the so-called cousin. She was still thinking about something, so her expression was a little pale. Seeing Ji Heng pointing at Ji Xiaorong again with a cigarette pouch, she frowned slightly. She was trained by an etiquette teacher invited by the Ren family since she was a child. She learned the etiquette of Jiangjing nobles. Pointing at people with a cigarette pipe is simply too vulgar. Even a servant in the Ren family would not be able to do such a vulgar thing. When she was a child, the first time she saw Ji Heng take out a blue and white porcelain bowl with a chip, Ren Wanxian told Ji Heng that it was too dirty and unhygienic. Was severely reprimanded by Ji Xiaorong. Later, Ji Heng didn't entertain her with this bowl, and bought a clean white porcelain bowl. But Ren Wanxian didn't dare to talk nonsense anymore. She could only hold back this kind of thing in her heart, and then go home and complain to her mother. Her mother rarely let her come to Ji's house. Baipa grasped the earphone, she glanced at the second uncle Ji Heng was talking about, curled her lips, and said with a smile, "Hello." Did not call the second uncle. The sound was like the tone of the keys being pressed lightly, clear and ethereal, and Ren Wanxian subconsciously tilted her head. Seeing a pair of extremely beautiful eyes, they are black and white with clearness. Looking down, she was dressed in ancient clothes. Before she met her, Ren Wanxian never thought that this kind of clothes that can't keep up with the trend can look so good on her body. Even if Ren Wanxian doesn't want to admit it. She squeezed the phone tightly. It's rare to come back. Ji Heng didn't say much, he broke the silence, and said to Ji Xiaorong, "Dining here tonight." Ren Wanxian withdrew her gaze, she stood up with a polite manner, "Dad, I still have private lessons, so I can't go back too late." She looked at the well in the yard from the corner of her eye. Ji's household water comes from here. Although the well looks clean, she really doesn't want to touch the water here. So it doesn't take too long to come every time, and Ji Heng has never drank the water that Ji Heng poured her. Although Xiangqing is a bit out of the way, most of the side near Xiangqing has been replanned. The citizens have been equipped with sterilized tap water a long time ago, and Qingshui Street has remained the same year after year, and no one has started construction. Residents still use well water. Ren Wanxian has never seen anyone using well water in this day and age. Ji Xiaorong glanced at her, "Then you go back first, the driver is still waiting for you outside." By the way, Ji Xiaorong thought of something again, Xian, this is your cousin, she is also a senior in high school, and she will be transferred to Li soon, you two add a contact information. As he spoke, he looked at Bai Pe, Xian is also academic, and her grades are very good. You can ask her if you don't understand. Bai Pe bowed her head, she was studying the headphones. She decided to take it apart when she returned to her room, not knowing how the earphones worked. After being called, she looked up and looked at Ren Wanxian, slowly trying to take out her phone from her pocket. Ren Wanxian pinched the phone and long pressed to turn it off. "Dad, I'm 2 years younger than her, and I'm 17 this year." She paused, and then said, "I just kept playing games, and my phone ran out of battery." "Hello," Ren Wanxian looked at Bai Pe squarely and was very polite. She took out a certain fruit phone and said in an elegant manner, "Then let's add friends next time." Bai Pe raised her eyebrows, and she withdrew her hand to hold the phone. "Sorry." Ji Xiaorong was also silent for a while, and then said softly to Ren Wanxian, "It's senior year, don't play games every day." Ren Wanxian didn't reply, she nodded casually, and said goodbye to Ji Heng. Turning around, the smile disappeared instantly, irritated and impatient. Anyone can be a relative of the Ren family. Ji Xiaorong is here today, and it's not the turn of the white pot to wash the dishes after eating, and it's Ji Xiaorong who does the washing. Ji Heng looked at his back looking for the bucket is in the utility room, did you forget? Ji Xiaorong smiled, then looked around the yard for a while before going to the utility room. Ji Heng was sitting on the stool at the door, with paper and pens on the table. Bai Pe just took off the earphones, she looked at Ji Heng wearing glasses, sitting alone under the yellow light, his figure was stretched very long. She grasped the earphone, walked over, squatted at his feet and raised her head, "Grandpa." Ji Heng paused, looked down at her, "What's wrong?" "Here you are," she spread out her palms and showed him a small blue toy, "I bought milk tea today as a gift." Ji Heng looked at the little blue rabbit in her palm, and reached out to pick it up. "Look at this color, do you like it?" He showed the painting on the table to Bai Pe. Bai Pe took a look. It is a superb meticulous painting, plum blossom style, yellow stamens are distinct, lifelike, beautiful. "Well, then I will take it to submit tomorrow." Ji Heng looked away, and waved his hand to let Bai Pe go back and read, "Remember to get up early tomorrow, your uncle will take you to school." He was talking about Ji Xiaojun, whose student status has been transferred. "Oh," Bai Pe stood up and made a request while going back to the room, "then it will be stretched after finishing the manuscript. I also like poppies, next time you will embroider this for me. You still choose?" Ji Heng glanced at her. And others entered the room, but Ji Heng sat where he was, without moving for a long time. "Stretch up." Ji Han has not heard this word for a long time. He seems to be used to people nowadays who like fashion, high-end skirts and high-end clothing. No one would like the flowers he embroidered, and no one would appreciate the clothes he made. Even if she ran away from home, she would not take any of the clothes he made for him. He looked at Bai Po's back, and then looked down at the little blue rabbit in his palm. Inside the house, Bai Po, who didn't need to wash the dishes, was in a good mood. She returned to the room, put the disassembled earphones on the table, and the first thing she did was search for the book Jiang he sent her. She opened Chengdu, searched Jiangjing University Physics. However, the result was outrageous. It had everything, except Jiangjing University and Jiangjing University's physics book. She glanced at the phone page, and there was even a 17 points in physics test. Bai Po. Student, you are awesome. She returned to WeChat, poked Jiang He's profile picture, and said hello politely. On the other side of the phone, Jiang He was sitting on the carpet, holding a simulated Chinese cabbage pillow in his arms, holding a 7th order 5 Rubik's Cube in his hand, and was slowly twisting it when the watch on his wrist rang. He took a look, and saw that the sender was a portrait of a Shangqing tower. His eyes lit up. Throwing away the pillow, poking open the watch, a message of white scorpion appeared on the thin and light three-dimensional page. Bai Jian. Jiang He replied word by word, Sister Bai. Bai Jian, I won't go to the library tomorrow, I have to go to class. Jiang He, okay. Bai Jian, I can't find the book you posted, not even on Jingbao. Jiang He rested his chin on his knees and blinked. Jiang He, I'll ask my brother. He got up from the carpet and went to the study. Jiang Fuli is in a video conference. He is wearing white home clothes, leaning against the back of the chair a little loosely, with cold white fingers resting on the table, and his pale phoenix eyes are hanging down lazily, noble and indifferent. Seeing Jiang He, he slowly sat up straight, reached out to turn off the camera, and pressed mute. What's wrong? Jiang He approached, and showed him the page on his watch. Are you asking for her? Jiang Fuli raised his eyebrows, and the soft home clothes also diluted his indifference a little. Jiang He nodded. Jiang Fuli reached out and took away the 5th order 7th order Rubik's Cube that he had recovered half of. I heard that you want to go back with him. Jiang He nodded again. Jiang Fuli slowly helped him back to his original state, took a moment to glance at him. No. Jiang He looked at his Rubik's Cube, but didn't nod this time. Go back to sleep. Jiang Fuli returned the Rubik's Cube to him. I'll send someone to deliver the book tomorrow. The acceptance of his laboratory detector this time did not meet his requirements. He needs a detector that can sensitively perceive the recoil nucleus. But the detector medium in the laboratory is not large enough. So he is modifying the design drawings to ensure that the detector has a large scale and a very low detection energy limit, and the time is not much. Coincidentally, Jiang He has recently found a playmate, so he doesn't have to be distracted to take care of him. Waiting for Jiang He to leave, Jiang Fuli looked back, turned on the camera and microphone again, and knocked on the table, calmly and indifferently. Continue. The next day, Shangqing Middle School. The largest high school in Shangqing, Bai Po followed Ji Xiaojun to an office. In the office, Lu Lingxi was wearing glasses, short hair, and white hair that couldn't be hidden. She looked at Bai Po with soft eyes. Student Bai, can you tell the teacher why you want to switch to science? Why transfer? Bai Li closed his eyes half closed, his eyelashes drooped slightly, long and curled, covering the bottom of his dark eyes. If at first he just didn't want to see history, then now. Curious. She said quietly. Curiosity. This is the answer that Lu Lingxi has never thought about. Well, Bai Po looked at the computer on the desk next door. For example, I really want to know how the computer transmits information. Her black pupils reflected the sun refracted outside the window, like a lazy white cat. Things are different, no matter how frightened and uneasy she saw the world when she came through. But she is trying to explore this era, and it is undeniable that she is now full of curiosity about this era. It was the first time Ji Xiaojun heard Bai Po talk about this reason. He couldn't help but tilt his head, looking at his niece's well-behaved face full of seriousness. Silent for a moment, thinking about how she answered him last time. Oh. So what? Oh, perfunctory him. Okay, Lu Lingxi looked at Bai Pa quietly, and she could see that she was very serious. You can make a set of comprehensive science papers and let me have a look, okay? She found a comprehensive examination paper on the table. It took Bai Pa 20 minutes to return the paper to Lu Lingxi. Lu Lingxi is a Chinese teacher. She put away the test paper and handed it to the physics teacher in the same office, asking him to help evaluate the test paper. Then he said to Bai Pa gently, "Come on, I'll take you to our class. There are 20 classes in the third year of senior high school, and we are in class 15. Ji Xiaojun also followed. The third year of senior high school is a separate building with 5 floors from top to bottom. Each floor has 4 classes, 2 stairways, and an office in the middle. Teacher Lu's office is on the second floor, and class 15 is in the middle of the third floor. While walking through a stairway, a girl in school uniform on the second floor came up with a composition, Ms. Lu. Student Ren, Lu Lingxi held the frame of the mirror, stopped, and said in a gentle voice, "Put the homework on my desk, wait for me, I have something to tell you." Okay. Ren Wanxian looked up, but saw Ji Xiaojun. She hasn't met Ji Xiaojun a few times, but he looks like her father, and she can recognize him. But at this moment, her attention was on the people around Ji Xiaojun. "It's her, Bai Pa." Ren Wanxian was taken aback for a moment, and thought a lot in a flash. Did she really transfer to this school? Has the Ji family mentioned the Ren family to her? When Ji Xiaojun saw Ren Wanxian, he could tell what she was thinking by looking at her eyes, and he looked away calmly. He used to be very kind to Ren Wanxian. Once he wanted to ask Ji Xiaorong for help with something, so he went through all kinds of hardships to enter Ren's house. Then I saw the painting he gave to Ren Wanxian in the trash can of Ren's house. Since then, I have never been to Ren's house again. Lu Lingxi smiled and explained to Bai Pa and Ji Xiaojun in a low voice. She sighed, "That's Ren Wanxian, this kid is really, really smart. He skipped 2 grades in junior high school. Student Bai, you'll know after 2 days at school she is here, and if you have the opportunity, you can ask her for advice on how to study." Ren Wanxian didn't care about Ji Xiaojun. She smiled at Lu Lingxi, looked away and went to the office. "Put the workbook on the table, and see a comprehensive science test paper on the table. Good night, go to bed early. P.S. Stop calling me bald." End of this chapter. Kicked out of the rich family at the beginning. Chapter 8:008 King of the Vines. Chapter 8:008 King of the Mango. Class 15. In front of the podium is a middle-aged man with a fat body. His back is a bit bent, and he is supporting the podium with his hands. Then let's look at this question. What should we do in the first step? Let's set the coordinates of the moving point M and use our trigonometric substitution and trigonometric identity theorem, right? Then what should we do next? Write out the coordinates of other points too. Then it will be obvious, they are all collinear. Can we write down the coordinates of point P? Will the PQ come out? Isn't it very obvious? Simple, right? The people in the class were drowsy and answered sparingly. Lu Lingxi knocked on the door. "Mr. Xia, I'll bring a new classmate over." Some students in class 15 looked up lazily. In the light, the newcomers were wearing simple white cross-neck tops with a small white poppies embroidered on the neckline, and black horse skirts underneath. White dress and black dress, black hair neatly with a wooden hairpin, and no other accessories on her body. Brows are beautiful and lazy, with an irresistible temperament. The mathematics teacher seemed to have traveled through time for a moment, feeling like he was in the Imperial College, and the one who walked towards him was his most energetic female student. She walked into the classroom and said in the silence of the room, "Hi everyone, my name is Bai Pa." There was a bang, and the atmosphere exploded instantly. "Excuse me, ask me, classmate, which Xian are you?" A girl sitting in the back raised her hand excitedly and asked. Bai Pa Si was standing on the podium in a gentle manner. Hearing this, she tilted her head lazily. "Ku Mandy's family." "Wow! Cool!" Some boys even slapped the table and cried out. Some girls seemed to be calmly bowing their heads, but they have already picked up their mobile phones and communicated frantically in the group. "Okay, all you calm down, Bai Ku, sit in the empty seat in the fourth group, Lu Lingxi said with a smile. She looked at the girl with her head down by the window, her voice softened again, same with Yang Lin table. Bai Pa took the backpack and walked towards the only empty seat in the class. If you need anything, you can find me. Bai Po's deskmate Yang Lin spoke softly. After talking to her, she kept her head down and did her homework. Thanks. Lu Lingxi returned to the office. Wanxian, I have to go and write the blackboard when we meet at the intersection. Ren Wanxian has been a famous teacher since she was a child, she can write well, and Lu Lingxi also has a preference for her. Also, do you know about the Jiangjing preparatory camp? Ren Wanxian nodded, I know. Not only did she know that her grandfather was actively communicating with a doctor in Jiangjing. Some schools use the software of the preparatory camp to help the top students solve the questions, Lu Lingxi said slowly. Our school has a quota recently, and there is only one quota, so the school will decide who to give it to in a month's time. The number of places in the Jiangjing preparatory camp is simply that of prospective Jiangjing college students. There are too few places that can have this software. Ren Wanxian remembers that there are only 10 places in Beiqing No. 1 middle school. Unexpectedly, this school in Shangqing would have a place. Ren Wanxian was very surprised. I know Teacher Lu. Leave late after school, and training for the few of you who can compete for places, just these two things, go back. Lu Lingxi smiled and told her to leave. Lu Lingxi is not only the head teacher of class 15, but also the Chinese of the 3 classes, and also serves as the grade teacher. She is in charge of all the big and small matters in the 3rd year of high school. Ms. Lu, I put the test paper of that transfer student on your desk just now. The physics teacher reminded Lu Lingxi. Lu Lingxi quickly put on his glasses and picked up the test paper. I'll take a look first. The first thing she saw was the words on the test paper. This word. When Ren Wanxian heard this, she slowed down. So that test paper is white. The physics teacher held the teacup and smiled. 85 points, the paper is simple, the score is a little low, but the basic knowledge is good. Ren Wanxian stopped at the door with a slight smile on her face. She closed the door, thinking casually, the physics teacher's words are really refined. Where is this slightly low? Xiangqing's initial exam is very simple, it's all basic questions, and the total paper is 300 points, and their class. There is no less than 150. In the office, Lu Lingxi was surprised. 85, that's enough. Lu Lingxi smiled while holding the test paper. You don't know, Bai Po's classmate turned to liberal arts. I thought she could get 50 in the exam, so I wouldn't persuade her to go back to the liberal arts class. She doesn't have high demands on Bai Po, after all, she is Wen Xuanli, and she didn't expect Bai Po to get 200 points in the exam. Lu Lingxi does not pursue the enrollment rate either. Wen Xuanli. No wonder the characters are so neat, and they look better than those printed on a printing machine. The physics teacher was just preparing for the lesson, and didn't listen to the conversation between Lu Lingxi and Bai Po. It looks more comfortable than Ren Wanxuan's test paper. I was also surprised that this transfer student Wen Xuanli. Although it is said that the papers are simple, most of them are basic knowledge, and she has not done many big questions, but in fact, she only needs to do, are all true, especially the physics. She used the authentic Guanyu style. Lu Lingxi is a Chinese teacher after all, so she said that she is a good child, and her handwriting is so good. In the past, scholars would use this type of font when taking the imperial examination. The previous champions knew several kinds of calligraphy at the same time, but they all used the Guanyu style in the palace examination. Lu Lingxi didn't expect Bai Po to know how many fonts, and it is very qualitative for children nowadays to learn one font. It's just that few people go to learn Guanyu style now, and they all admire Liang's style. Ms. Lu, don't worry too much, the physics teacher unscrewed the teacup. Since she wants to learn theory, she will definitely improve. Don't look at her score of 85. I don't think she is completely spiritual. If you don't believe me, just watch and wait. In the college entrance examination next year, she should be able to improve to 170, and it is very possible to work hard for the second one. He decided to pay more attention to this transfer student. Of course, they don't know. Wen Xuanli, who can get 85 points in the normal difficulty test, is indeed considered spiritual. In their hearts, the most difficult thing for Bai Pe is Wenzwanli. After all, it is already very difficult for Wenzwanli to pass the test. How could they think of? These 85 points are completely what Bai Pehua learned in 5 days. As for a lot of other stuff that wasn't written, it's all because someone hasn't started learning it yet. Bai Pe made a name for himself in the forum of Xiangqing Middle School. There are 10 posts in number 1 middle school today, and 8 of them are the emperors. These Bai Pe herself don't know, although she is good looking, but there is an aura around her that is difficult to integrate into. Like her deskmate Yang Lin, she is either reading a book or doing quizzes. She looks a lot like a schoolmaster. He has the aura of a domineering student, and others dare not go up to talk to him. After school in the afternoon. Bai Pe only had her size measured today, and the school uniform would take 2 days to send out. In the vast crowd of school uniforms, she was the only one wearing her own clothes, and she was a little taller than ordinary girls. She was clean and glamorous, standing out from the crowd. Jiang He squatted at the corner of the opposite street, and saw the shining white scorpion in the crowd at a glance. Why alone? Bai Pe didn't see the person who followed Jiang He around, so he took him to the milk tea shop around the corner. My brother will pick me up later. Just after school, there were many people in the milk tea shop, and the two waited for a while before it became less crowded. Bai Pe found a quiet table and sat down with Jiang He. Classmate Bai, the clerk brought 2 cups of cherry fruit tea to Bai Pe. Your milk tea is ready, the straw is on the left, take it yourself. Bai Pe recognized that this was her deskmate, Yang Lin. Bai Pe looked at the fruit pulp in the milk tea, which was obviously more than others, and bent his eyes, sparkling and vivid, thank you. She took out 2 straws, and noticed out of the corner of her eye that there seemed to be a bruise on Yang Lin's exposed arm. What are you? Bai Pe looked away, and went back to give the milk tea to Jiang He. The opponent takes out colorful balls. Jiang He took a sip, 7th order 5 Rubik's Cube. He can already restore the central color block, but he is not proficient at the back. He watched Jiang Fuli's quick twist restoration formula last night, and is trying to reproduce it. Bai Pe opened the backpack and took out a large object from it. She had never seen a Rubik's Cube before. Are you restoring the color of this ball? Jiang He nodded. He was dissatisfied with his speed. My brother can recover quickly, but it takes me 2 hours. Poof. The boy who just arrived next door with a basketball spouts lemon tea. No way, little brother. The boy turned his feet and turned sideways. He was wearing a school uniform, his facial features were handsome and sunny, and he suggested him sincerely, don't say such things in a calm tone, and be considerate of ordinary high school students. Jiang He glanced at him, but said nothing. Boys. What kind of eyes do you have? What eyes? Hi, the boy choked on him, greeted Bai Pe again, and introduced himself, classmate Bai, I'm you. Zhang Xiai's. Bai Pe recognized, this is her back table. She remembers everyone who introduces herself. Zhang Xiai scratched his hair, so you heard what we said, Mama Lu said, you can come to me if you have anything to do in the future, I am the sports committee member. Their class calls Lu Lingxi Lu Ma. As Zhang Xiai spoke, he saw a bunch of things Bai Pe took out. Looks like a motor. Bai Pe inserted the straw with one hand, and played with the motor coil with the other. What's wrong? Zhang Xiai's. Why would someone carry this thing in their school bag? He said goodbye to Bai Pe with an incredulous expression on his face, and walked out of the milk tea shop. A group of boys waiting for him outside asked him if he wanted the contact information of the transfer student. I'll ask tomorrow. Zhang Xiai's put his arms around his shoulders, and the 2 brothers sighed, I feel at ease with you in the world. Brothers just about to move. Zhang Xiai's, hey, that's great, I'm not the only trash. It was getting dark, the school gate. The top students who received training for top students have just finished their class. Ren Wanxian has someone to pick her up from school. She is talking to the driver on her mobile phone, I'm done with the tutoring class, you come. Looking at the intersection at the corner, there is a girl sitting under the street lamp, waiting for something. The school is so big, why do you encounter Bai Po over and over again? Is there such a coincidence? Ren Wanxian suddenly felt a little irritable. She looked at the other person's back, thought for a while, and told the driver, drive the car to the back door, and I will wait for you at the back door. What's wrong? The boy next to her asked her. Nothing. Ren Wanxian shook her head, not wanting to mention Bai Po at all. Let's go to the back door. She turned around coldly and re-entered the school gate. The boy nodded thoughtfully, and when he turned around, he only glanced at the intersection at the corner. Then I'll ask the driver to wait for me at the back door. And the intersection? When will your brother come? Bai Po and Jiang He sat on the side of the road and waited for people to watch the passing traffic. Street lights lit up in rows. Jiang He pressed his watch reluctantly. There are still 10 minutes. Okay. Bai Po lazily leaned against the lamp post, and pulled out the coil to play with. When Jiang Fuli came to pick up Jiang He, what he saw was this scene. The girl was sitting loosely by the side of the road, her black hair was pulled up casually by a taupe wooden hairpin, and she was playing with the electric motor gracefully in her hands. The rough electric motor was more like a work of art in her hands. Her facial features are excellent, and her drooping eyebrows and eyes reveal a sense of laziness. At that moment, it seemed that the moonlight was also taking care of her, and it was hazy soaked by the moonlight. He suddenly thought of a word. Soft and evil. Go to bed early after reading this. Good night. End of this chapter. Kicked out of the rich family at the beginning. Chapter 9:009 Monopolize the Moonlight, Blackwater Street. Chapter 9:009 Monopolizing the Moonlight, Blackwater Street. Twilight Long Street, monopolizing the 7 colors of the bright moon. I've been waiting for a long time. Jiang Fuli came back to his senses. He pressed his eyes and introduced himself to Bai Po. Hello, classmate Bai Jian, I'm Jiang He's brother, Jiang Fuli. He got out of the car wrapped in frost, with a slightly lowered voice, naturally cold. Bai Po raised his head, and inadvertently bumped into a pair of light-colored eyes, which were like a cold pool that could not reflect any light. Deep and cold. She glanced at Jiang Fuli, who was wearing a black shirt. His face was cold and unique, and his slightly lighter hair blended with the light. Looking at each other for the first time, maybe another glance. Obviously lonely and quiet. But deafening. After a while, Bai Po slowly opened his mouth. Give me a reason not to you. Jiang Fuli rarely showed his true emotions in front of others. This was the first time he was in a daze in front of others. Jiang He looked up, contemptuously. Sister Bai is called Bai Po. Jiang Fuli. First of all, do you want to see what you noted? Sorry, Jiang Fuli laughed lightly when he realized what had happened. His usual indifferent phoenix eyes were mixed with a little smile. Jiang He is sensitive to numbers, but he never went to kindergarten, so. He paused for a moment, then commented briefly, he is semi-literate. Bai Po swept towards Jiang He coldly. Jiang He, who has an autism spectrum disorder and is only superior in digital geometry. He withdrew his gaze expressionlessly, and covered his watch in a smooth manner. It was removed from the fan. Jiang Fuli held a book in his other hand, which was rolled into a tube by him. He squatted beside Bai Po, took her motor, and lowered his eyes to look at it seriously. It should be a capacitor problem. Use a multimeter to see which wire has no resistance and fix it. It was a hand like a work of art, white jade-like in color, with slender joints, well-proportioned and smooth lines, and a faint refreshing breath. Multimeter. Bai Po looked back at Jiang He's death gaze, resting her chin on her lap. She tilted her head lazily. I wanted to buy it, but my grandfather wouldn't let me tear down the house. I stole this from his room. There was no other emotion on her face. Her black pupils reflected the light of the street lamp above her head. She was lazy and beautiful. Obviously just want to secretly disassemble an electric fan motor. I can imagine that she is very cute and steals the things of the parents. Maybe the parents have to turn a blind eye and close one eye helplessly to watch her steal. I have it, and I'll bring it to you in 2 days. Just thinking about the scene, Jiang Fuli felt a big cat stretch out its paw lazily and scratch him. I have a physics laboratory, where various experiments there are all the utensils, and it is very convenient to do experiments. Jiang He seldom gets close to anyone, and sometimes he doesn't say a word for 7 days. Bai Pe is a very strange existence in Jianghe. Until seeing it with his own eyes, he felt that he might understand why Jianghe wanted to go home with her. Bai Pe blinked his eyes. It's a very big laboratory, so there should be a particle collider. There were more and more eyes looking around. Jiang fully picked up Jianghe's collar and stood up. Get in the car first, and take you back. The street lights on Qingshui Street are a little less. Bai Pe asked Jiang Fuli's car to stop at the intersection. This is the book you want. Jiang Fuli got out of the car with her, and handed her the book in his hand. Under the twilight, his eyebrows and eyes softened as if soaked in ice and snow. Physics is not difficult, it is very interesting. You can ask me any questions. Thank you. Bai Pe took the book. This is a book she can't read. I should thank you. Jiang Fuli looked at Jianghe, and said softly, Jianghe always thinks he is an alien and wants to return to his own planet. You are his first human friend. Bai Pe commented, he is very cute. Jiang Fuli tilted his head to look at her for a while, then chuckled, yes. Bai Pe waved at him and left. Jiang Fuli watched her enter a canteen, and there were police patrolling not far away. The slightly frowned brows were slightly relaxed, and he returned to the car. There is no demolition here. Ming Dongheng sat in the driver's seat, looking at a low, old building, looking surprised. It is opposite to Heishui Street, and my master is there. That is the place Ming Dongheng often goes to, Heishui Street, a street at the junction of the two countries. I just didn't expect that Heishui Street and Qingshui Street are only 1 kilometer apart, facing each other on the other side of the river. Jiang Fuli looked at a few lonely streetlights, and he slowly raised the window. Go back. Ming Dongheng drove the car away, and Jiang He lay on the side of the car window watching Bai Pe. Jiang Fuli lightly tapped the phone screen with his fingertips. In the dark night, his brows and eyes seemed to be soaked with a layer of cold frost. After a while, he turned on the screen and sent a message. Go to the utility room and find my physics notes. Commissary. 2 patrolmen came over to buy 2 bottles of water, and chatted with the store manager like a family. The store manager gave a confused answer. Before going out today, Bai Pe asked the store manager to help her bring some wires. The store manager gave her the wires and a lollipop, covering the QR code and refusing to let her transfer the money. Hurry up and go home, Tiandu Blacken. Oh. Bai Pe put away the wire. The patrolman didn't ask anything, so he called it a day and went back. After the 2 patrolmen left, the neighbor dared to come over. What are you doing? You went to the other side of the river to steal something. Why are the police watching you all the time? But I'm a good citizen, the store manager said aggrievedly, and he was also puzzled. I thought about it, and I didn't do anything. Bai Pe bit a lollipop, lowered her beautiful eyes, and walked into the alley with an innocent face. As soon as I reached the entrance of the alley, I saw an old man waiting there. Is Ji Heng? Bai Pe was taken aback for a moment, and she quickened her pace. Ji Heng held a flashlight, and when he saw her, he turned it on, and led her back in the dark alley. You can't rush to study, take your time. There are street lights in Qingshui Street, but not in the alleys inside. Only occasional dim lights from the family. I don't. Bai Pe took out his earphones, prepared to listen to English words, and rejected the suggestion. Ji Heng. Seeing Bai Pe, he stared at his flashlight again, vigilantly. This cannot be dismantled. Bai Pe's eyes were a little erratic. Am I that kind of person? But I woke up in the morning and saw the dead body of my electric fan. Ji Heng ruthlessly dismantled her. That's because you read it at the wrong time. If you don't believe me, just watch it in 2 days. Bai Pe insisted. At the same time. The only bungalow area in Shangcheng, the Ren family. Ren Qian routinely asked about Ren Wanchuan studies, and then explained about Gao Jiechen. Dr. Gao hasn't responded yet, you have to fight for the school. Ren Wanxian nodded. If it was the past, she should leave. Today, she hesitated. What's wrong? Ren Qian was surprised. It's the things about my dad's house. Ren Wanxian told Ren Qian about Bai Pe. Ren Qian put down the document in his hand after hearing the last word, Wen Zhuanli. Ren Wanxian didn't care too much, but thought that the other party had only 85 points in the comprehensive science, and shook her head. 85 in the comprehensive science, I don't know why she wants to study science, but my father asked me to teach her. Don't listen to him, he has become more and more confused in the past 2 years, and he doesn't know the severity. Ren Qian looked cold. He valued Ren Wanxuan's studies, and naturally knew that she got a perfect score of 300 in the comprehensive exam. How important is your study? He does not know. He has not seen this white scorpion before, so he has a bad impression. It is important for young people to be steady and down to earth. Ren Wanxian hurriedly rubbed Ren Qian's shoulders. Don't be angry, my dad didn't mean it, you know him, he only cares about research, he doesn't even remember how old I am. The Ji family has indeed not relied on the Ren family to make trouble for so many years. It's just that Ren Qian didn't care about the Ji family. He slowed down, and told Ren Wanxian, okay, don't worry about the Ji family, your father is not clear-headed, you have to figure out what is the most important. The college entrance examination is coming up next year, so don't be distracted by other things. After Ren Wanxian went out, the Secretary General said, next year's college entrance examination, it's our turn to be the champion in Xiangcheng. Miss Wanxian has a good chance. She has too much competition this year. It is difficult for her to compete with the Chen family in Xiangcheng alone. Ren Qian knew a little bit of the inside story, and he shook his head. In their eyes, the biggest goal is the champion of Beicheng. As for the national champion, no one thought about it. Which year was the national champion not from Jiangjing? How could it be somewhere else? This is the auction item list of Baihu Auction House. A week later, the Secretary General remembered the business. This time there is an authentic work by Liang Zuan. Hearing this, Ren Qian quickly reached out to take it, Liang Zuan's authentic work. Liang Ti is the most popular typeface. It is not only loved by ordinary people, but also highly respected by various aristocratic families and great writers. That's why Ren Qian taught Ren Wanxian to learn Liang Ti since she was a child. Obviously, Ren Wanxian took this step very successfully. Since she was a child, she has won the favor of many people because of her body. Liang Zuan's authentic works are rare, and the one known to the outside world is in the private museum of the Qin family in Jiangjing. As soon as this authentic painting comes out, I am afraid that a bunch of people will rush over from all over the country. No one would suspect that it was a fake. After all, it was the largest auction house in Asia, and no one dared to make trouble when an auction house opened on Heishui Street. Find a way to get an invitation letter from the auction house. Ren Qian said. The next day. Baipa didn't stay in the library because Jiang Fuli asked someone to send her the multimeter. She was going home to show her grandfather what it means to look at the wrong time. Bus number 12 stopped at Qingshui Street. When Baipa got off with a black backpack, he saw a circle of people far away near the canteen on Qingshui Street. Baipa approached, and the hands in the white vest who watched the excitement outside the crowd shook. With a click, the cigarette fell to the ground. Captain Zhang, ask them if I have violated the law. In the middle of the crowd, a middle-aged man in black lightly exhaled a smoke ring, pointing at a street vendor selling jelly. Dare you say I broke the law? The jelly vendor shook his head in horror. He cleaned up the stall that had been kicked. No, no. I knocked it down myself. Oh, then do you dare? The middle-aged man took another 2 steps, pointing to those selling hand-carved ones. The man sat on the ground, only waving his hands wildly. He stepped on an embroidered shoe, and finally stopped in front of Jiheng. What about you? Do you dare? Jiheng looked at the stall on the ground and shook his head. Look, the middle-aged man looked at Team Zhang leisurely, and said arrogantly, I told you I didn't, Team Zhang, you don't want to catch a good guy and go back, do you? You. Team Zhang was about to attack, but was hugged tightly by his companion. Forget it, Team Zhang. The companion whispered in Team Zhang's ear, he should be that poisonous scorpion. Team Zhang calmed down. Poisonous scorpion. One of the top 10 lists on their internal most wanted list. He often wanders around Heishui Street and the world. Many of his men are mercenaries. He is backed by the bar on Heishui Street. I heard that the FBI has nothing to do with him. Huge force. Poisonous Scorpion has long expected this situation. He gave Zhang Dui a contemptuous look, threw the cigarette on the ground in front of him, and stepped on it with his foot. It seems that Zhang Dui has to find another way to catch me. No one dared to speak. The Poisonous Scorpion arrogantly took all the cigarettes from the canteen, and left Qingshui Street openly. After the people left, Team Zhang silently helped the surrounding vendors to tidy up their stalls. He whispered to these people, "Sorry." The people at the bar on Blackwater Street, at the border convention between the two countries, the people there. Team Zhang has no evidence, so there is really nothing he can do. Even if the Chen family in Xiangqing is here today, they will suffer from being dumb. Bai Pe stood not far away, watching the scene calmly. The back of the white vest felt hairy from her gaze. He shivered, and quickly bit his cigarette to help the street vendors collect their things. Obviously, the white vest is also one of the conventional people who are not easy to mess with. Seeing him helping to collect things, Team Zhang couldn't help but glance at him, and then at the shopkeeper not far away. The people around gradually dispersed. This kind of thing is not uncommon in Qingshui Street. Ah Pe? Ji Heng packed up his things, but saw Bai Pe standing on the street. Neighbors in the neighborhood like Ji Heng's gadgets. He will open a stall every few days. Bai Pe studies late in the library every day. This is the first time he has seen him set up a stall. Yes. Bai Pe calmly responded, and reached out to take Ji Heng's things. It's okay, Grandpa is used to spending money to eliminate disasters. Ji Heng held a cigarette bag, and obviously talked a lot today. This kind of thing doesn't happen often. He is the person opposite, and he doesn't come here often. Be careful when you go out, we ordinary people, it's better not to mess with them as much as possible. He comforted Bai Pe. Bai Pe gave another obedient but the bottom of his dark eyes became colder and colder. Ji Heng is very relieved of her. 11 at night. The lights in Ji Heng's room went out, and in Bai's room, she unscrewed the last screw on the electric fan. Then took the phone, gently closed the door and went out. Crossed the bridge at the end of Qingshui Street. A street stretches across the front, resplendent and resplendent. It is clearly 10 o'clock in the evening, but it is as bright as day, and the entrance is written in 2 languages. Blackwater Street. The white vest has been waiting here for a long time. When I looked up, I saw the girl in a moon-white dress that was out of place on this street. Sister. The white vest leaned forward, handed Bai Pe a cigarette, and lit the fire. Bai Pe was holding the slender smoke between her fingers. Very carelessly, the flame rolled by, and the smoke rose slightly. She tilted her head lazily. Where is he? White vest, I can attest that when I knew Scorpion, he had no head. He, good night. End of this chapter. Kicked out of the rich family at the beginning. Chapter 10:10 Save People, Prince Class. Chapter 10:10 Rescue, Prince Class. Qinglong Bar. The bridge near Qingshui Street occupies a large area. Poison Scorpion is the most capable thug in the Qinglong Bar. He is very famous in this street because he doesn't want to die. Most of them are afraid of him, so few people in the bar dare to make trouble. Sitting in the lounge inside the bar, he just lit a cigarette. Boom dash. The door was opened. The Poisonous Scorpion looked up casually, and saw the white vest. He is standing behind a young girl. Yo, young Master Mao. Obviously he knew the white vest, but he called young Master Mao, but his tone was not very respectful. The Poisonous Scorpion looked straight at the girl behind him. Are you here to honor me? Huh, don't worry, young Master Mao, I will definitely support you in front of your godfather. Looking at him in the white vest is like looking at himself once. Bai Pe slowly approached. Poisonous Scorpion was taken aback for a moment, then smiled, and stretched out his hand to Bai Pe. Young Master Mao, the person you chose is pretty good. Boom dash. He was kicked to the ground with a stool, and a bone in his chest was broken. The Poisonous Scorpion frowned, endured the pain, got up, and punched Bai Pe's face hard. Bai Pe didn't even move, he just raised his hand to catch his punch in the Poisonous Scorpion's astonished eyes. The moon-white skirt swayed slightly. Click. The sound of broken finger joints sounded. You want to die? With a bang, he was slammed on the ground again by the white scorpion. Poisonous Scorpion has never seen such a perverted scene before. He looked at Bai Ji in horror. The terrain at the junction of the two countries is complicated. Where can those who have no skills get along? His skill can be said to be very good. In fact, few people know that the FBI has nothing to do with him when he is in the international arena, so he is favored by the bar owner. As the number one thug in the Qinglong bar, even if he is the number one in the fighting arena, he will have to waste some time. The poisonous scorpion exhales more air than inhales less air. He lies on the ground and cannot get up. Did I offend you? He can be regarded as smart, so arrogant and able to live for so long. It is entirely because the offended people are not worth mentioning. The girl in front of him can pinch him like a steamed bun. He didn't know how he provoked her. Bai Pa still held a slender cigarette in her other hand, and the hazy smoke wrapped around her face. She walked unhurriedly to the poisonous scorpion. She was wearing grey embroidered shoes with a not-so-obvious footprint on them. The embroidered pattern was pink peony, layered on top of each other, elegant and luxurious. She stepped on the right hand of the poisonous scorpion with the embroidered shoe with only footprints, and asked warmly, "Is the embroidery good?" Simple and gentle. The poisonous scorpion, who was still invincible before, is now lying on the side of the white scorpion shoes. Even though his chest hurts every time he breathes, he still tries his best to wipe the dust on the white scorpion embroidered shoes with his hands. He raised his head and smiled at her flatteringly. Okay, the embroidery is very good." Bai Pa lowered her head, the shadow cast by her eyelashes covered the haze in her eyes. She raised her foot. "It's really good." Boom dash. Another kick. Kicked the poisonous scorpion's chest hard. The poisonous scorpion was kicked against the wall. Bai Pa tidied up his sleeves slowly. She withdrew her gaze and said coldly, "It's dirty." The white vest squatted beside the poisonous scorpion, and kindly reminded, "You said it was not good for you to provoke someone, and you had to kick her grandpa's stand, and you still ask the old man if he dares. Do you think he dares? Remember to respect the old and love the young." The sound of the bar is deafening. A group of men in black were waiting at the door, and the leader saw the poisonous scorpion paralyzed by the wall inside, which exhaled more air than breathed in, and the corner of his mouth twitched. "God, you made a vicious person respect the old and love the young." They looked at Bai Pa with apprehension, and said to Bai Qiong, "Young Master Mao, the boss asked you to go to the meeting room." "I'll tell my godfather." The white vest nodded casually. Bai Pa sat on the bar counter, tapping lazily on the table with his fingers. "Xiao Bai." The white vest immediately stepped forward and ordered her a glass of wine. "Sister, my surname is Mao." "Oh, Xiao Mao," Bai Pa nodded lazily, "thank you today, but I won't drink, I'm going back." "Sister, will you stop playing for a while?" Bai Pa took out a wooden hairpin, pulled up her hair slowly, her lowered eyebrows were loose, and said, "No, I have class at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning." White vest, "No, Mao Kun." Beside him, there was a younger brother who saw Bai Pa for the first time, and couldn't help but blushed. Student Xiao Mao became anxious when he saw it, and slapped him on the head. "What are you looking at?" "Ah. What are you looking at? If you have any thoughts, hold back." Qingshui Street. The night was dark and the wind was high. Bai Pa took out the earphones and memorized English words. At this time, it was nearly 1 o'clock in the morning, and the sound of fighting could be faintly heard from the narrow and dark alley ahead, and ordinary people should take a detour. Bai Pa was wearing earphones. Halfway through the words, the phone rang. It was Mao Kun. She picked it up and walked through them calmly. "Are 3 blonde men?" Because the girl was too calm, they were obviously stunned. The next second, one of them came back to his senses and tried to grab Bai Pa's neck. Bai Pa tilted his head and reached out to grab the man's hand. "Sister," Mao Kun's voice sounded. Bai Pa looked at the blue-eyed man, and then looked down at the person lying in the corner. "Wait a minute," she said to Mao Kun, and put the phone back in her pocket. Then suddenly pulled the blue-eyed man in front of him. The fist wind blows away the scattered bangs on both sides of her, revealing her pair of cold eyes. Bai Jian did not retreat, the other hand clenched a fist, and slammed hard at another person who wanted to touch her. Less than 3 minutes. 3 people lay at her feet. Bai Pa took out the mobile phone in his pocket, leaned against the wall lazily. Speak. Huh. Oh, Mao Kun on the other end of the phone wiped his face. There will be an auction here in 2 days, do you want to come and play? No. Bai Chi hung up, his eyelashes drooping. She put the earphones back on and found the English words. Hello. The man lying in the corner spoke to her. He took out the cigarette case from his trouser pocket with trembling hands, trying to find a cigarette and bite it. Thank you, leave a contact information. Bai Pa glanced down at him. His leg was still bleeding. She focused her eyes on the gold-edged calligraphy beside his hand. Seeing her gaze, the man moved his right hand, but he didn't know where the wound was. He hissed, you want this? Liang Zuan's original work, although precious, is not as expensive as mine. If you want it, take it away. Other requirements, as long as you don't want to live on the moon, I can do it for you. I don't know which word touched Bai Pa. She squatted down, turned on the flashlight of her mobile phone, and took a picture of the inscription next to the man. A long while. Bai Pa's eyes fell lazily on the man's bleeding leg. She lowered her head slightly and reached out to grab the man's injured leg. What are you doing? The man was taken aback for a moment, and then quickly said, this is a gunshot wound. My personal doctor will be here soon. Don't touch me. I don't want to waste it now. While he was talking, his leg suddenly stopped bleeding. Even the pain is reduced by half. Bai Pa just stood up, clicked on the English word page again, and walked back. Hello dash. The man shook his head, seeing that she didn't have the framed calligraphy. He couldn't help calling her, you don't want Liang Zuan's original work? The girl who didn't pay much attention to him stopped, and the moonlight gently bathed her body. After she finished reciting a word, she turned her head, who told you that this is the real work? The man was taken aback, this has been identified by experts. The girl looked away again, and her back disappeared around the corner. The voice from the dark night was vague and silent, I'll verify it again, it's his student's handwriting. 6 a.m. Ji Heng's room. As soon as he opened his eyes, he met the figure holding an electric fan in front of him. Ji Heng. Bai Pa. Looking at each other for 10 seconds, someone is looking at him with a very righteous look, as if asking, why do you wake up so early? Very good. Ji Heng closed his eyes expressionlessly. Bai Pa just put away the electric fan, and she purposely switched it on. The small fan that was broken before turned on, wheezing, as if afraid that others would not know that it had been repaired by someone. She closed the door intimately and went out. Ji Heng opened his eyes, he looked out the window at the early morning, and the low temperature, about 22 degrees. Calmly stretched out his hand and pulled the half-made quilt to his neck. Xiangqing Middle School starts classes at 8 o'clock in the morning, and most boarding students arrive at 7 o'clock. Bai Pa didn't come too late, it was 7:30. Her deskmate should have arrived early, holding an English book and sitting in the front seat to endorse. And her position. Bai Pa lazily yawned and walked to his seat, reached out and knocked on the table, lowered his head, student, let me go. The face of the girl sitting in her position fell instantly. The noisy class instantly quieted down. Zhang Xiais, who was sleeping on the table, also raised his head. His eyes were sleepy, and he was shocked when he saw this situation. The curly-haired girl didn't look at Bai Pa at all. Seeing Zhang Xiais woke up, her eyes lit up, and she handed him the bag in her hand, Zhang Xiais, I brought you breakfast. At the same time, Yang Lin gently pulled the corner of Bai Pa's clothes, and gestured to Bai Pa with her eyes. Zhang Xiais never accepts anything from girls. Right now, he reached out to take the breakfast, thank you, Chen Wei, let's go first, class is about to start. Chen Wei smiled again on his pulled face, then I'll watch you play again tonight. Maybe in a good mood today, Chen Wei left class 15 humming a song. Wherever she passed by, boys and girls all shrunk their necks in unison. New classmate, you just came to our school, and I'll give you some popular science. The girl in front turned her head, she let out a long sigh of relief, and said to Bai Pa, that was Chen Wei, a sophomore in high school, of course you might not be clear about it, let the school grass know, besides Zhang Xiai's, there is another person named Chen Zhu. Chen Wei is Chen Zhu's younger sister, Chen Zhu's 3rd and 8th class, the prince's class, do you understand? The people who often play with her are all Chen Zhu people like Ren Wanxian. Bai Pe, thank you. Really annoying, Miss Shark. Anyway, in the prince's class, we ordinary people don't mess with them if we can. Eggs hit rocks, the girl said, then looked at Yang Lin and Zhang Xiai's, right, you too? The most important thing is that Chen Zhu and Ren Wanxian are the hottest contenders for the #1 scholar in North City. Yang Lin sat in her seat, thought for a while, and then added softly, try not to offend them. That's the truth, Zhang Xiai's dissatisfied, but why do you say that I, a sunny and cheerful 19-year-old innocent boy, am a fool? No one paid him any attention. Zhang Xiai's embraced the shoulder of his deskmate again, Xueshen, what do you think? Ning Xiao looked up and gave him a quiet look. Bai Pe propped his chin with his hand, and flipped out the English book a little lazily. Zhang Xiai's touched his nose, took out his phone and added her as friends. Today is Friday, and school is over in the evening. Yang Lin and Bai Pe walked out of the school together. Bai Pe put on the earphones to listen to the words, and walked with Yang Lin to the flower shop at the end of the street. The middle-aged woman who sells flowers is enthusiastically wrapping bouquets for the guests. When she sees Yang Lin, she squints her eyes and smiles softly, your flowers are on the table, and I'll put them away for you. Bai Pe was reciting words, and looked over, there was a beautiful white lily on the table. Yang Lin took the flowers, and she put the money on the table. The middle-aged woman finished wrapping the flowers, shook her head helplessly when she saw this scene, and asked, where's Zhang Xiai's? He's playing ball. Going to play again, can't I learn from you and Ning Xiao? Mother Zhang murmured, then looked at Bai Pe, hey, this is the transfer student from your class, the little girl looks really good-looking. She took out a red rose and gave it to Bai Pe, it looks better than my bastard. Bai Pe took it, thank you, auntie. Ah, Zhang's mother covered her heart, I knew it, I knew I should have a daughter. Damn Zhang Xiai's will only water my orchids to death. Don't be angry, the middle-aged man who just came back from the outside put down his computer bag and comforted him, we quarreled at night and pretended to have a cold war and went back to the room, and let him do housework for 7 days alone. Bai Pe took a rose and parted ways with Yang Lin at the intersection. Following the address Jiang he gave her, she came to the rich area of Xiangcheng. The bus only goes to the outermost road. Ren Wanxian didn't participate in the training camp for top students today, but Ren Qian notified her in advance that there was a distinguished guest at home today. While passing by the outskirts of the wealthy district, she glanced at a person not far away. Stop. The boy in the front seat looked in the rearview mirror lightly, what's wrong? Ren Wanxian shook her head, but she didn't speak, brush dash. The car stopped in front of Bai Pe. The window of the car was lowered, revealing Ren Wanxian's unstoppably irritable face. She looked at Bai Pe with a sarcasm that seemed to have seen through her, what are you waiting for here? Our classmate Xiaomao finally has a name spicy. Don't guess, he, good night. End of this chapter.